What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another live stream. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring in. I've been talking about him in the post. I know you guys know who's coming. Here we go, little Chris. Thank you so much for joining the stream, man. I appreciate your time, and thank you for all that you do with Pool.
No problem, man. Happy to be here. How long has it been since the last time we did a live stream together?
I don't remember the exact time, but it was sometime in, I think it was like early November. So it's been way longer than I intended. Because you reached out to me like it's been over a month ago, month and a half ago, and you said, "Hey man, let's do another live stream." And I've just been way too busy with everything going on and traveling and every weekend tournament, yada yada. So just haven't had the time to do it, but we are finally here. So
Awesome.
So yeah, other than that, give you a quick update. I mean, as you know, I'm constantly putting out as many videos as I can, about every 3 days.
I know you're putting me to shame.
Well, I don't think that's going to take a whole lot because you're putting out a whole bunch of one video a month right now.
If that.
Hey, we got some really cool videos of your absolutely beautiful diamond table. So we do have that. So yeah, other than that, just I've been busy, man. I was playing 4 nights a week, had to cut that down to 3. I truly wanted to get down to 2, but how do you pick a team that you want to quit when they're all fun, good people, and didn't want to let anybody down. So I've got 3 teams still rolling, and just keeping busy. I've got so much stuff in the works. I just haven't had the time to get to it. So but yeah, no, thank you. What have you been up to? I know you took a bit of a hiatus with your ankle injury, but what else has been going on?
Yeah, because I had surgery back in I think it was like the October-ish time frame last year, because it was going to take about 3 months for me to recover.
Yeah.
To which I thought I was going to be able to have my table and be recovered around the Christmas time frame, but that didn't happen. I got my table finally set up in January of this year. Got it all set up.
Wow,
I
has it already
finally
been
had
that
enough.
long?
Yeah, because I finally had enough time to do a live stream, like probably a month or so ago, where I played some horrible straight pool. Um, but since then, it's just like yourself. I've just been so freaking busy that I can hardly find the time to actually want to try to make a video.
Yeah.
I did recently just publish me doing a wagon wheel drill. I just made a quick short for YouTube and a Facebook and then a Facebook reel.
Yeah, I
Because that
saw
didn't
that.
really take me a whole lot of time to execute, and it didn't take me a whole lot of time to edit it together.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I keep saying this every time. Hopefully, here soon, that'll change. I don't know.
You already have a list of ideas and videos you want to do?
Well, like yourself, since I also moved, my league nights have been reduced down to just 1 night a week.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of archived recorded matches that I could eventually go through. I'm just trying to decide if I want to live stream them or if I want to do a recorded review like I originally started with way back in the day. Which is the same thing that you do. Drew Van Port does the same, where you guys record review your matches. I can get back to doing that again. So that way I can just save my live streams for just playing straight pool, or if I have friends over and we do like exhibition matches or something. Cool. But I also still have plenty of ideas. It's just that there was one video I tried making, and I tried to do new tricks with video editing. And after about 3 hours of trying to add an edit to a 1 minute and 30-second clip, I gave up, and then pretty much just scrapped that entire project, and haven't tried going back to it since.
Right.
But I would imagine, like I said, soon maybe I just try to wait to try new editing tricks, and just stick with what I know, so that way I can just start just pumping out content again.
So for anybody who wants to get into content creation, let me tell you something that I did not realize. Just the idea of doing a 60-second reel, you think you're probably going to take a half hour, maybe 45 minutes if you really get intricate. No, that is not true. I have spent, like, I mean, just like what Chris said, I've spent one video I took 6 hours to do a 60-second video. And it's because you get done and it's a minute 15. Well, now how do you cram that down? And you got to tweak it and edit it and then refilm and reword and redo this. Or I'm telling you, content creation is excessive amount of time. It is so much time, at least for me, probably just because I don't do enough of it. But the idea of doing a 60-second reel takes forever. It's crazy. So that's why I have to laugh when you said that.
Yeah, I mean the YouTube, and I think YouTube and Facebook, they have increased their time limits now to where they can be more.
YouTube now is 3 minutes.
Yeah, so that's definitely helpful. But it's not helpful if for someone like yourself and me, we're kind of like perfectionists when it comes to making the content. So even though we can probably film the content, we might not just be happy with it and just keep doing it over and over and over until we're finally happy with it. Then we have to spend hours editing it on top of that.
Yes.
But in a live stream, we don't have to worry about any of that.
No, I already got the videos edited, so we don't have to do any of that stuff. We're just gonna have a little bit of fun. And so you know what? You ready? You want to jump into this?
Yeah, but let's actually address your chat here. I see someone by the name of Alicia Henshu. She says sub captain.
Oh, Alicia,
is that one of your league players?
Yeah, she plays on 2 of my teams actually. She plays on my Sunday Ultimate team and my Monday APA team. And I'm trying to figure out where is my chat and why can't I see it? Live chat, join the conversation. It won't let me see it in my YouTube. There we go. Got it. What's up, Alicia? Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. The girl who doesn't like to cut, but she loves to bank. I don't know if you know any APA 4s like that, but that's her.
I do.
So, all right. Now that I see that, I was trying to stream over Facebook, a little bit of last minute software issues. So we're just going to be on YouTube. We shared it. And thank you for sharing that, Chris. I saw you posted that over there.
My pleasure. Not a problem, dude.
So
happy to help.
Let's get into an APA 9-ball match. What do you think?
Sure.
And here we go. So first thing, Chris, I didn't even tell you this, but I have a little of an announcement. If you haven't already noticed, if you look underneath my name, I have officially moved to an APA 9. I am no longer an 8.
Congratulations.
I will forever say it's way overrated. I play in a pretty weak league. But regardless, I have officially moved to an APA 9, and flat out, this was the first match that I got to play as a 9. Hilariously, it's against a buddy of mine, James, and he's an 8, as you can see. He's the guy that got me into pool when I didn't want to. I was like, yeah, pool's cool, but I don't really care. Well, long story short, now I'm a YouTuber doing pool videos.
I don't know if you know this or not, but you kind of just dumped on all of your league players when you say you play in a weak league.
I'm the first to say it. I put it on Facebook. My league, in my opinion, is overrated. We don't have enough high players. Too many people that should be 4s or 5s. Too many 6s should be 5. Whatever it is, I'm not shy about it. I'm not trying to dump on them. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. But sorry. It's my opinion. It's truth. There are some true 7-9s. Don't get me wrong. I've got some 600 plus Fargos in there, but it is so few and far between.
Yeah, I do know what you mean by that. I've said it for years, even as an APA player, that a lot of the times your skill level can be dictated by the population.
Yes.
On top of your actual skill. And so the difference would be that if you're the best player amongst a pool of league players that are like, you know, fours,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna be looked at as the skill level 7 or the skill level 9. Versus if you're the best player in a league filled primarily with like 6s and 7s,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be looked at as the 7/9, but you're also going to be the better of the 7/9 than of the previous example.
Right. You know, and part of that is like I went to APA singles in 2022 as a 6 for 8 ball, and the very first guy I played was if I remember correct, he was a 555 Fargo, and I'm telling you, that guy shot better, smoother, had multiple break-in runs. Like, he was better than most 600 Fargos around me. And this guy's a 6. I'm like, okay, hold on a minute. And if I remember, I think he was Minnesota area, and I know that's a strong market, but you know, look at the APA singles that just happened. The 9 ball for the 8s and 9s, the guy that was an 8, not even a 9, he was like a 625 or 650 Fargo.
That's
And
underrated. That's way underrated.
way underrated, you know? Like, so again, he might be in a market that he's playing 725s and 750s. I don't know. But so yeah, not trying to dump on my league too much, but I don't feel like I should be a 9. I barely feel like I should be a 7. It is what it is. I did move up to a 9. I'm playing my buddy James here, and you're gonna have to forgive my buddy Megan standing over in the corner. So you know what? So here we go. Let's jump into my very first match of APA 9 ball. I forgot I actually put that. Yeah, she actually plays with my buddy James, but she just wanted to stand there. She was waiting for a timeout. So yeah, my very first match is a 9. I just move up and I get to play my buddy. He basically froze the lag, so that was good. So for anybody that doesn't play APA, you're probably not watching the stream, but if you do, if you watch this video, it is 1 ball is 1 point. The 9 balls were 2, and then you also win the rack or win the next break, and it is win or break. James was struggling on his breaks this match, so just point that out. He was so he did get a dry break. I'm just gonna follow this forward. I knew I was gonna crash into the 7, just forward enough to be able to see the 2. Leave myself an angle. Obviously, if you have something, Chris, pipe in. I can pause,
Yep.
but had just enough angle to stun out. If I remember correct, I'm going to go just forward, come off 1 rail to see the 4 to would be the bottom right corner.
A shot, a little friendly bump on the 5 there.
Very friendly bump. Just because where it's at. I'm going to try to stun to this left long rail, bring it back out to about the center. Nope, take that back. I'm going to hold it, which I think probably would be the better shot. Because now I can just basically do a stop, a little bit of a slide, but just hold it there for the 6 in the bottom right. Now this should just be straight top, bring it straight right back out and right about where the 6 is now, so I can take the 8 to the top right.
This is looking good.
And this should just be a slow roll. To hold. Pretty okay. Pretty decent start.
I would say so.
So now we're back to an even race. So I'm okay with that. Let's see how I break here. I had a lot of, see that tip rise on that though?
That's all well and good. Can we go back to the break?
Sure.
This is where I can try to like pitch in some stuff here. So pause it here. So I talk a lot about the break for lots of different videos. APA template triangle rack, like it really doesn't matter. Template racks are a completely different story though than triangle racks, because template racks are a little bit more consistent
Right.
as far as the spreads are concerned. So I at least want to give this little tidbit here. Go ahead and allow the break to play, and let's watch that one ball. You see how you almost made the one ball in the side pocket? Go ahead and pause the video again. So it is of my opinion that for APA 9 ball, we can't guarantee, we can't have a high probability of making whatever wing ball from whatever side that you're breaking from, because it's a triangle rack.
Right.
If it was a template rack, then that would most likely be the ball that you're going to be going for.
Right.
Is going to be the wing ball. So it's of my opinion that the one ball should be your targeted ball that you're going to try to make, just to be able to try to establish some control of the table right off of the break.
Okay.
So we saw how, go ahead and replay the break again. We saw how your one ball missed high from the side pocket, and your cue ball, actually, you drew it rather nicely. So this is where it's still kind of unpredictable. But whenever the whenever the one ball misses high on the side pocket, that usually indicates that you cut your break a little too much. Whereas if you hit,
would that be a cut to
break,
the left or to the right of center?
It'll be a cut. It'll be a cut to the left of center from the angle that you're breaking from.
Okay.
Versus if from where you're breaking from, if you actually hit the one ball a little thick or kind of head on, then the one ball will go below the side pocket. And everything that I'm speaking right now actually is more related to a template rack. If you're using a template rack and you watch the one ball, that's what that means. And there's that nice little sweet spot where you can make the one ball in the side pocket.
Okay.
Here, you happen to hit that one ball fairly flat because you were able to draw the cue ball below your side pocket. So normally I would think that if you actually cut the one ball thin enough, your cue ball would hit the left side rail above the side pocket. So that didn't happen here. And people might wonder, well, why did that happen after everything that I'm saying? Because it's a triangle rack.
Right.
I mean, that's always going to be the biggest difference there. So I would say though, if you want to try to increase the probabilities of you trying to make that one ball into the side pocket, I would advise that you scoot your cue ball a little bit closer to the rail and kind of break off of the rail instead of breaking with your bridge hand on the table. Get as much angle as you can, and then still try to find that sweet cut spot, because even though you're closer to the rail and you're naturally going to be hitting more of the one ball on its left side from the direct middle, you still kind of want to do a cut. I hope that makes sense.
So you're saying from where it's at here, bring the cue ball closer to the side rail?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, because once you're on the side rail, though, you don't want to do a head-on break. You still want to do a cut. Yeah. And you're just going to have to, based on, like, you have to do some quick adjustments based on how the rack is behaving by whatever opponent that's giving you that rack.
Right.
So if you watch, in this case here, since the one ball still missed high, that tells me that you're supposed to actually break a little bit thicker than what you did, but we're not guaranteed. Are you going to get the same gaps that you might have gotten in this one here? Sure. So if we go on to the next rack after this, you break again. Let's just pay closer attention to that one ball, but because I'm willing to bet we're going to see that one ball come near the side pocket a lot on the breaks.
Just want to point out Megan, who was in the very beginning, is in the chat. So she just had to comment. That still shot though. Yeah, just you standing there, Meg. But
you're famous now. You're famous.
Right. We're gonna put you on the internet, let everybody see you. Just stand there. All right. So let's look at this break again. But like I said, just the first thing I noticed, the way when I hit, my tip was still inches above the felt. Like almost looked like I was trying to sweep through.
Mm-hmm. This is where I make the comments of that you should be breaking like you're shooting. Yeah. The difference being though is that when you're breaking, there's usually going to be so much power in your break that extra body mechanics start to come into play. Right. It would just be of my opinion that like just treat it like it's a shot. You're just trying to shoot firm, not hard.
Makes sense. Ooh, we got a hook on that one. Ooh, okay. I was almost scratched with it too.
So
Unfortunately,
I
that
got
four ball got right
a
in the way of the bank.
I got a little nugget that I can give here. Let's see what you do though. Okay, so far so good. I'll just leave it at that. Let's see what you do with this. Oh, you're a little scared. Okay. let's go back. Let's go back to that 3-7 combo that you played. I actually thought you were going to be going for the 9 ball instead of the 3-7 combo.
Okay.
So this is a shot that actually came up. I remember the last time we did a collab. I think it was against your buddy John.
Yeah.
And he played a shot to where he undercut the ball, but then knocked in another ball.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm kind of recapping this, and that is like, how could we make this 9 ball without doing a combo? Because the combo, like we saw you hit the 3-7 combo pretty well, but the 3-9 combo is harder.
Yes.
Because you have to cut that 3 ball a whole lot thinner. So what about if we attempt to use the cue ball to do that? And there's actually
carom off the 3 to go at the 9.
Correct. Oh, actually, it's a billiard.
You did that to me last time. Dang it! I have not learned.
I got called on it too, but I mean, the words are interchangeable. But billiard is supposed to be meant for when the cue ball comes off of an object ball, and a carom is when an object ball comes off of an object ball. And I think the sticklers that actually stick to that is because of the game billiards, right? When you're actually where there's no pockets on the table, and that's where there's the difference. But the system that I want to highlight here again is how to accurately roll the cue ball for a billiard to play a second ball. And that is this. If you were to pretend the 3 ball was a cue ball and you were to get behind it and you want to shoot at the 9 ball.
Okay.
From behind the 3 ball, visualizing your cue like you're going to hit it, you now have a line that goes into the 3 ball, which is your cue, right?
Okay.
If you were to extend that line, you would be able to see the line coming out of the 3 ball, basically the shot line of the 3 ball going to the 9 to make the combo. So I know we can't draw on this, but if hopefully everybody understands what I'm talking about, we have a line going into the 3 ball, which is the cue. If you were to pretend that the 3 ball was the cue ball, and then if you extend the shot line to the 3-9 combo, there's a line coming out of the 3 ball. If you were to aim your cue ball at the line that is coming out of the 3 ball and just gently roll your cue ball, you will more than likely billiard towards that 9. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to make it, but you're more than likely going to hit a billiard. And so you have to be careful when it comes to how hard or how soft, because if anybody's familiar with cut shots, whenever you have a top spin or a bottom spin shot on cut shots, the harder you hit the ball, the further the cue ball goes down the tangent line before the top spin or the bottom spin take effect.
Right.
So I mentioned a rolling cue ball, which is basically a top spinning cue ball.
Yeah.
So if you don't judge the pace right, you can still miss the 9 ball completely altogether.
Right.
But you will have a high probability of actually hitting the billiard to where you can possibly end the rack here soon. And actually, after you played the 3-7 combo, I thought you could have actually tried the 3-9
I
billiard
could have played the
again.
billiard there, yeah. And
but I guarantee you this: after the stream's over, go try it on your table.
Oh, I will.
Set up a shot like what I'm talking about, and like I said, visual or go to the first object ball and pretend you're just going to shoot that ball into whatever ball that you want to billiard into. And then, like I said, aim your cue ball to wherever your shot line exits the first object ball. And then just try to just gently roll the cue ball to that spot. Now, you might not be able to see the spot because it might be on the other side of the ball from which your cue ball, from behind the cue ball, you can't see it, but you could still aim at it. You can basically, that's like saying that you can't aim directly at the diamond that's on the rail. You just aim through the rail. is what I'm talking
That makes
about.
sense.
So,
I,
but give that a try. You'll actually see more times than not that shots like that are going to come up a lot.
yeah,
Where you can play a rolling billiard shot rather than trying to make sure that you go across the tangent line perfectly and other kinds of stuff. But
interesting.
definitely wanted to put that in there because I know we talked about it last time.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's I'm definitely gonna try that because I'm curious. Just like I understand what you're saying, but I want to see it in action. That's very interesting. But no, I mean, and my buddy looks like my buddy Mike is in the chat here too, Honads, and he loves combos. He knows I hate them, so I try not to play them unless I have to. So I think right here my main thought was I don't have a great shot, so let's just play a safety and try,
Mhm.
which I underhit it. I need to get a little bit more to the left on the 9 ball, but I was just trying to hold him down from getting any points and just try to make as large of a run early as I can. You know,
Yep,
because
makes sense.
he's an 8, he's a hell of a shot. I mean, him and I are very very similar. If not, I still say he's a hair better than me. But I'm like, I can't let him get in stroke. So that was kind of my mindset. Unfortunately, I left him an easy 3, so he got there, and now
Ooh, undercuts the 5 ball.
little undercut. Same thing. I was trying to hide it.
Yep.
It's really tough because I
Playing
was a lot farther away than I think to because you almost need to stun with the right kind of speed, and that's a very tough shot. So
Yeah, playing a safety is just as difficult as playing a shot.
yeah, he had a good roll on that one. Should be a
Not
pretty
really a
simple draw.
fan. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the position that he got here because look what he has to do.
Yeah, no,
Now this is a 7 foot table, so
yeah,
like it's not really that big of a deal. The a long shot is not really a long shot
right.
on a 7 foot table. But I say that because I would much rather watch players not have to power draw shots, especially on a 7 foot table.
Yeah,
Ooh, dry break. Are you going to capitalize on this one too?
I need to because I mean he
Mhm.
got 9-1 on that last track, so he almost brought it back even. Go ahead and just try to use this entire wall, but
I like it. I like it.
unfortunately, it looks like I left him that perfect avenue. I don't know. Maybe the 6 is in the way. Okay, he is kicking. Ooh, it looked like he put a
Ooh,
little bit left spin on that one.
that was a nice try. Okay, pause. This is why Todd has me on here because the advice that I gave him last time we were talking just before we went live, he's doing some of it, but he's not doing all of it.
Mhm.
So actually back up a little bit to where you started glancing at the 2 ball.
Went just a hair far. Watch us kick again. I mean, he couldn't have missed that any more narrow if he wanted to. That was close.
I actually had a similar shot at League the other night where I did the same exact thing where somehow I magically went completely behind the ball without touching it. So pause right there. So there's 2 ways of looking at this, and I will start with the classic thinking 3 balls ahead.
Sure.
In my opinion, here this is only 2 balls ahead, right? You're looking at the 1 to the 2, and that's it. So my guess is that once you get on the 2, then you're going to look at the 3. Would that be correct?
I think my initial thought was I was planning I'm going to have to draw off the 2 to see the 3. Now, where I went
Mhm.
wrong is I didn't take the time to walk to that right side of the table to see where is that line. Where do I need to get to even see the 3? So I didn't
That's
follow the the full
So,
path and walk around.
so that's kind of my point. It's good that you're thinking about how are you going to play position from the 1 to the 2, but what difference is that going to make when if you're going to shoot the 1 in because you have ball in hand?
Sure.
The likelihood of you missing is very low. But then you get position on the 2, and then by the time you get to the 2, you might say to yourself, "Oh crap! Like, what do I got to do to get on that 3? Do I have to do a power draw shot? Like, do I have to just unleash something?" Versus taking the time to really try to figure out how exactly do you want to go from the 2 to the 3. Now, in this particular layout, I do agree with you. It does look like you're going to have to draw. So does that mean you're going to try to land perfectly flat to where we could overdraw the 2 ball, right? Because we have to make sure that we pass that 6 ball.
Right.
Do we want to try to maybe draw and kind of bump off of the 4? So that way we kind of dribble over towards the 7. So that way we know the 6 will not be in our way. That's a little bit more forward thinking to get at least 3 balls ahead. So I at least want to point that out here, since I'm just judging off of the demeanor of what I'm seeing you do on the table versus not even knowing what's going on in your head, right? So where what I like to advise my teammates and stuff, I say, show me on the camera, like physically plan it all out so I can see that you're doing it for numerous reasons. One, for yourself, because if you actually execute everything that you plan, that's a huge confidence booster.
Yeah.
2, if your opponent sees you going through all this stuff and you're hitting all this stuff, that's an intimidation factor.
True.
Right. So you got 2 mental portions of the game, one that benefits you and another one that doesn't benefit your opponent. And the one that doesn't benefit your opponent also benefits you.
Yeah. No, that's a good.
So just something to think about.
No, and truth be told, this match was over 2 months, probably close to 3 months ago now. So I can't tell you what I was thinking. I can only tell you the way I see it now, which, as you know, in your own commentary, you can say what you should be doing. I don't, this wasn't close enough that I can tell you, oh, I remember I was trying to XYZ. So that was not the case. Now,
but let's see how you go from the 1 to the 2, what you actually land in, and then see how you have to play from the 2 to the 3. Because I can see you gave yourself an angle where you're going to come off the short rail, bounce towards the middle of the table, right?
See, and even there, I hit it wrong because I wanted to be a little bit more on the right side of the tangent line, just a hair closer to the 8. So the draw, you don't have to rip as much draw, I would think.
So we have to put a bottom spin shot on here. So I'm just curious. You actually hit it really well. You hit it really freaking well.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't overdraw it. Left myself a good angle. I'm not over the 7. That's about as good of an outcome.
Okay, so far so good. Okay, nice rolling shot there.
Yeah, that's one thing I have absolutely taken on from our last stream, is just rolling balls.
That's another nice rolling shot. Look, you got another one. You might kind of stun this off of the side rail and back out, so that way you can play the 7 in the lower left. You could roll it as well. It's just that the cue ball will go more towards the rack area.
Yeah,
and you kind of hit that a little firm.
I don't know why I hit that so darn hard.
Yeah, because now bridged over this 9 ball, this makes this a little difficult. I definitely wouldn't have recommended hitting it as hard as you did.
No, I don't know why I smashed that so much. That should have been half that, but.
Oh, but well executed.
Lucky.
Actually put yourself in a really good spot where you can just roll this one again.
Yep. You said overroll?
Overroll.
Yeah, a little overroll.
Little overroll. That's okay. I think I would still probably just try to cut this, though.
Yeah. A little bit of a TV timeout for the Zamboni. The problem is that's real close to a scratch shot on the side. Just a little bit of a draw just to get it around that side.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so again, let's just watch that 1 ball. Let's see if you do a similar break and how close does that 1 ball come to the side pocket.
Okay.
Like I said, the only variable we can't control is the gaps that are in the rack. But there's a problem. Your cue ball goes in a completely different direction than what you have. But you did get a 9 on the break. So it's not like I want to be too critical about what happened here, but we have an inconsistency, and this is something I see very common when it comes to breaking in general. Is 1 minute your cue ball comes straight back, the next minute your cue ball goes to the left of the rack, the next minute your cue ball goes to the right of the rack, etc., etc.
Guilty.
If you want to build consistency in your break, it doesn't matter if it's 9 ball, 8 ball, 10 ball. I mean, it just doesn't matter. The advice would be is imagine if the head ball, the 1 ball in this case, is the only ball on the table. And regardless of wherever you're breaking from, if you were to shoot straight through the 1 ball or 0 degrees straight at the 1 ball, you should be able to project where that 1 ball would hit on the rail.
Okay.
Now, so in this case, you're coming somewhere like just past the middle diamond. If you were to hit straight from the angle that you're currently at, you'd be somewhere just to the right of the middle diamond of the foot rail.
Okay, I'm following you.
But we're wanting to cut that 1 ball so that way we can get it to go towards that corner pocket, or I'm sorry, go towards the side pocket.
Right.
So therefore, you should be able to start cutting it to where the 1 ball would basically start getting closer and closer to the top right corner pocket. So if you want to have a consistent break, pick a spot to shoot that 1 ball towards that rail. And heck, sometimes it might be, hey, let me imagine that I'm going to try to cut the 1 ball into the top right corner pocket.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you're going to aim at. So that way you're consistently trying to deliver the cue ball to the 1 ball so that the 1 ball goes to a specific spot as if it was the only ball on the table. Because if you're doing that, there's no way your cue ball should be going to the right, because that just means your aiming is just way freaking off. When you're doing that. If anything, we should see your cue ball go to the left, sometimes a little inconsistent. Sometimes you might cut too much, sometimes you might be right on, but your cue ball should consistently go to the left if you're attempting to do that. Now, again, after you find that aiming spot that you're going to be trying to go for, when you're just toggling the power, are you accidentally causing the cue ball to squirt?
Right.
You know, are you shifting at the wrong time, and that totally moves your alignment completely off? Like those are all possibilities.
Yeah.
But if what I just described is something that you're currently not doing, you might want to give it a try just to be able to increase the consistency of your break. So that way your cue ball's not going all over the place.
No, that's actually that's an extremely good point. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind going forward, especially considering we're doing 9 ball right now, and tomorrow morning I've got 9 ball world qualifiers starting for APA. So
well, there you go. Like I said, we're gonna keep watching. Every time you break, we just want to watch that 1 ball, and then of course watch your cue ball to kind of bring my point home to see how consistent you are with the break.
Yeah, like that one, I flat hit to the right.
But you get a 9 on the break, so I mean, it's not like
it's not all for nothing, but
yeah.
Which, hey, mini slam, right? 23 points. I already got a mini.
So let's watch it again. Looks like as you're giving a timeout to somebody.
Yeah.
So are you going to hit flat, to the left, to the right? What are you going to do this time?
Flat.
See, that time it's flat. But where's the 1 ball?
Gone. And
right into
2 ball,
right into the side pocket, like I talked about.
It did, yeah. I mean, I hit that pretty full too.
Now, based on what I just said, though, especially in regards to aiming the break, you might want to go ahead and toy with it without moving your cue ball. I already talked earlier about moving your cue ball to the closer to the rail.
Yeah.
You could try just aiming your break a little bit better from your original spot, and then if it starts to still become a little too inconsistent, then just like I said, just scoot your cue ball closer to the side rail.
And I mean, and as well as anybody, pool can be played 1,000 different ways by 1,000 different people, and everybody's got their own theories, and yours is wrong because mine's right. I get that. But I've got a lot of people that are telling me, yes, sometimes when the rack can't get tight, move closer to the outside. When you do have a table that gets tighter, move closer to the inside. Because I used to break on the head string 1 diamond from the left side. So,
Yep. I
up
know what you're talking
two,
about.
left, right, one diamond to the right from the left rail. I'm now shifting where I'm even a little bit more inside. Like basically, if you take your cue dead center of the spot and put the butt of the cue through that first left diamond, that's
The
where I'm
break
putting the cue
box.
ball on the head string in that line.
That's the you're breaking from the corner of the break
The break
box.
box, exactly. I figured I would explain that a little bit to anybody that doesn't watch more professional pool. Um, uh, so let's. So yeah, I mean, I dropped the one ball playing. Unfortunately, the two ball also went.
Yep, and you
And
have no shot at the three ball. And there's no push outs.
yeah, I was gonna say, and even more unsettling is there's no push in APA 9. But
Oh, but what a hit,
that was
dude!
a good little two rail kick.
Nicely done.
Thank you. I don't know how I pulled that out, but I like it. Unfortunately, I think I left him the edge of the three, so he can make that in the side. Oh, never mind. No, he can't.
Want to say, yep, definitely was a fluke there
Oh
as he
yeah.
puts his hand up in apology. You can't say APA in this one. This is nine
No, this is a
ball.
9 ball.
Shots, luck shots happen. So
So he played the billiard, took
look
the
how he played the billiard. Yep, that's the same billiard shot that I just talked about in your previous rack.
Yep.
So let's watch this gentleman's break.
A lot
The
of
head
top,
ball
very
looks like it
full.
was yeah, the head ball looks like it was the four ball. Can you play the break again?
Yeah, I'm going to.
And he misses high from the side pocket.
He looks like he's roughly the outside of the break box, like closer to the what? Yeah, the four ball went
Lots of top
low.
spin.
Yeah, he definitely had a ton of top. Oh man, we got Goji Tan. Good morning from Hanoi.
Hey, thanks for stopping by
Man,
the stream.
thank you
By the
so
way,
much.
people, if you're watching, don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure
please.
Todd would really appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, what's wrong with you? Hit the subscribe, hit the bell. Give me all that good stuff, as I say. But no, that's awesome, man. Hanoi? That's fantastic. All right, here comes my my good buddy Adam.
So this would just be some advice even for your opponent, though. Like I said, we commented how he broke fairly well, but with a lot of topspin, that looked like a foul.
Yeah.
But he loses his cue ball to the rack end of the table. Generally speaking, we don't even want that, regardless of what our break style would be. We would basically like to be somewhere near the middle of the table, which I'm I want to guess. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he was trying to do like a pop break,
Yeah.
squat the cue ball, and he just happened to hit just a little too high.
Yeah.
On
I'd
the
say a
cue ball,
lot
so the
high
cue
because
ball
that
just
thing
took
ripped
off.
forward.
Yeah.
So I already kind of have a, well, I don't know. Let's just see how this plays out. I'm definitely feeling comfortable and confident that I'm just going to go ahead and start with a draw shot.
It's ball in hand. I don't really consider to be a problem with that.
I still would want a little bit more angle unless I can get because I want this off the rail more for the 6. Because now to stun this, I got to put a little bit of stank on it to get it slide out for that 7. Because I mean, I hit that pretty hard, and I get a diamond.
Mm-hmm. Does a 7 go in the side at least?
I'm gonna assume yes by that speed.
It does.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Looks like I'm going top, going off the head rail. Try to go around it.
This isn't an issue here. I think you should be able to cut that in with a rolling ball.
Yeah, a rolling
and
ball
not
should be
scratch.
fine. Not too
Nicely
shabby.
done.
Not too shabby. Slim, I'm from South Dakota. What else more can be wrong with me? Man, ain't nothing wrong with you. You live in South Dakota. Sure, there's like 7 people that live up there, but the country is beautiful. Beautiful countryside. All right, let's.
Yeah, you really tried to rip into this one.
Yeah, I did.
And that time your one ball missed low.
Yeah.
But still, so far every break we watched that one ball go towards that side pocket. That kind of proves my point.
Yeah.
Again, I completely understand that we can't, even if you were to make it like you did earlier with a fairly flat break, actually, it doesn't mean that you're going to do it again, because again, we can't predict the gaps
right.
that are going to be in the rack. So some people might argue, well, what's basically the point? Well, again, we only want to do things that we are in full control of. So, and that's going to be how you break. And so that's why I'm talking about aiming your break, trying to, consistently send that one ball to a specific spot on the foot rail as if it was the only ball on the table, because you're in control of that. You're not in control of the rack, especially since it's a triangle rack. So
yeah,
there's no point in trying to, let me break this way this time, let me break this way next, because it just becomes complete guessing at that point, which I don't think serves to your benefit.
Makes sense.
Okay, good safety here.
Definitely got lucky with that 8 ball becoming big. Good kick, and unfortunately,
hey, nice
he didn't return the safe.
Nice open table here. Hopefully, you can see a run out from here. What are you looking around? Did you miscue?
I miscued it bad.
I like how you looked. You looked around like, did anybody see that? Like, that was great. That was great.
I don't even know how I miscued that so bad, but I think I was trying to hit top left, and it just, like, the way it squirt off of it.
That is great. That is great. Oh, the things that happen in pool that make us laugh.
Yeah, and I'm the first to laugh at myself, because why not? Can't laugh at others if you can't laugh at yourself.
Exactly. All right, so let's see if your opponent can run this out, because there's not really an issue on the table.
Cue ball control sometimes. Well, we've all seen it now. Hey, if you watch any of my videos, you'll know I share all my mistakes. I mock them. I'm human, and I'm a good mid-level player. I'm gonna make plenty of mistakes. I think you want to draw back a little more on that, but should be fine.
I wonder if he's going to go side to side on this one, or if it's thick enough to where he can stay there. No, see, he tries to go side to side.
Yep.
Going to get a lucky safety out of it, though.
All right. That's 9 ball for you.
Definitely got to make a hit here. 8 ball sitting in the middle of the table, ball in hand, pretty much is going to end the rack.
Yeah.
Oh, nice double the distance measuring here.
Skinned it.
Ooh, nice hit. Nice hit.
Still sold out, but skinned it. It's not ball in hand.
It's better than ball in hand.
Oh, is he going to get the fluke? Nope. So you can tell at this point, he's already mentally kind of given up.
This early? Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay.
James doesn't miss those kind of shots, and just his demeanor when the way he chunked that and just kind of walked it off like that, Yeah, he was kind of mentally giving up already. I don't know. I don't know if he thought I was farther ahead or what, but
I get it though. We've all been there when we mentally check out of the game. We start entering into what's referred to as give up stroke.
yeah. I don't think I actually have that because I never really just give up. I still try and I just mentally tell myself, well, you're just out of stroke. You're just not shooting well. Like we all have those days. We all shoot bad at times. But no
Mm-hmm.
matter what, I'm putting my fists up and I'm ready to fight, So
No, for sure.
hey, all right, so we need to go back. Let's watch this break one more time. Let's see. That one went low.
And typically, like this is really the break that you would really want. You make a ball on the break, that one ball can park itself like there. Like again, I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking from a template rack perspective. Like this was almost a template rack break.
Yeah.
It's just that you didn't make the left wing ball. Another ball got lucked in from getting kicked around. But like
Right.
this is definitely a strong spot to be in.
Got a little flat on this one, so
Well, so let's go back to the one ball because I've got another little nugget for you
I love it.
to think about. All the way back to the one ball. Okay. So this is something that I learned from my coach, especially when it comes to playing rotation games versus playing 8-ball. And that is, I gave it a name. I call it tip position priority. And what that means is we're going to start with a top spin or a rolling cue ball, basically. So just top spin, some form of top spin.
Okay.
The question you ask yourself is, can I shoot the ball with a rolling cue ball / top spin and get position on the next ball to where I can shoot the next ball with some form of top spin?
Okay.
If the answer's no, well then can I add some sort of side spin? So now we're a rolling cue ball with side spin and get position. If the answer to that question is no, then our tip position starts to move down. So you've already heard me talk about how like I want you to try to figure out how to roll your cue ball as much as possible. This goes in line with the tip position priority because now we can't roll the cue ball, nor can we roll the cue ball with side spin in order to get position on the next ball to where we can roll the cue ball. So now we're coming down towards the middle of the cue ball to where we're kind of stunning our cue ball or stopping our cue ball. And can we stop or stun our cue ball to where our next shot we can roll? If the answer is no, then can we add side spin? And if the answer is no again, now we're coming down and now we're drawing the cue ball. Can we draw the cue ball in order to get a rolling cue ball on the next shot? And if the answer is no, can we draw with some form of side spin? The idea is that we want to try to use draw less and less. We're not eliminating it. We just want to use it less and less. And parts of what we've seen on this match already kind of prove my point. Draw, though fun, is difficult. I don't care what your skill level is, but rolling the cue ball, that's rather simple. And
definitely
you'll
more
also
controllable
that,
with rolling.
Bingo, more controllable. We can still, like, someone will argue all day long, well, if I just get better at my draw shots, well, of course, if you get better at anything, like it defeats the thing. But here's the thing, though, you will get better quicker when you can control rolling shots than you will draw shots. You still need to have them because when you're trying to play position, sometimes you're not going to get the position. Sometimes you might play a rolling cue ball to try to get to a rolling shot, but you end up falling into a stunning or a drawing shot. Sometimes your opponent's going to miss and they're going to put you in a position where you have to stun or draw your cue ball, et cetera, et cetera. I say all of that because let's look at your opening shot. It's fairly obvious that we have to stop or even draw the cue ball. Like I said, it's not avoidable. We're just going to try to limit what we do. So let's shoot the one ball. Let's go ahead and shoot the one ball.
So let me add to the commentary on that because I was actually just having a conversation with my buddy John, who we went on the review last time, and he's a a 465 Fargo. He wants to become an APA 7. He's a 6. He wants to get to a 500 Fargo. Like he's actively trying to do that. And I'm like, okay, you tell me what aspect of your game do you need to work on that's going to get you to that next level. And he thought about it, and he called me the other day and he goes, I think the thing I struggle with are bank shots. And I said,
That's not it.
No,
That's not it.
I said, I go, the thing is, if you get, and I hope Alicia is still on this, because this is going to go to her too, Miss I Love to Bank. If you if your game requires having a very good bank shot, that tells me that your patterns or your cue ball control are way off. Because in a decent run, let alone a great run, a decent run, you should never bank. You should have some kind of control that everything's a cut, and then it's just a rolling or, whatever from there. But yeah, anyway, that was just a little side tangent that I had that conversation just 2 nights ago with John. So
no, I do agree. I do agree with you. So here on this one ball, like I said, we're going to stop, draw back a little bit to try to have some sort of position on the 2. I could see that a stop shot is less than ideal, because now if we try to roll the cue ball, we're possibly going to run into the 9 ball, and that's not even going to give us anywhere near the position that we want to have on the to go from the 2 to the 3. So it would be ideal if we can actually draw the cue ball back to where we can roll the 2 ball in, have the cue ball come to the head rail, and then bounce back out for the 3 ball. That would be ideal. But I don't think that's what happened on this one here. I thought your next shot was fairly flat
basically
as well.
Try to get the cue ball somewhere like up here.
Yes, exactly.
So that way it's a natural roll to bring the cue ball off and then bring it back here.
Yes,
that makes sense.
And that illustration that you just did probably meant you'd have a hint of left spin on the ball, like I said, because can a rolling cue ball do it for you? The answer is no. Well, then we add a rolling cue ball with a touch of left spin, and that would give you the position that you want. So let's go from here. Let's go from the 1 to the 2. All right, like I said, bottom spin shot, unavoidable as far as I'm concerned. If we want to try to run this table out, we get to the rail. So that's actually good that we got to the rail. It's just that we're flat on the 2 ball. Now, here's the problem. Stop here. Because remember, where do we want to be so that we can roll the 3 ball? In other words, when I look at this shot, if you were to just stop the cue ball, you would actually have some form of a rolling shot, because you can just roll the 3 ball down. We know the cue ball is going to hit the side rail and then start working its way towards the rack area, but that's going to give you a shot on the 4 ball to the bottom right corner pocket. So that way, hopefully from there, you can just start rolling again. But as far as I can tell, there wasn't enough planning. From here, it's let me go ahead and draw the cue ball again. And we end up overdrawing it. So go ahead and play. So we did 1 draw shot so far. We did 2 draw shots, and now we're at a nice flat angle. We have to do 3 draw shots. What happens after this?
This was just a rolling shot because, well, right here, at least I'm stepping aside to see, does the 4 ball sneak by the 7? Because if it does, yes, you could just, stun run through on the 3 just to give yourself a somewhat straight shot on the 4.
Okay, so that was kind of a middle ball hit. We haven't rolled the ball yet.
No.
And that one that's just a miss. So the point that I want to make here is, because I know there might be someone that's watching this. Well, what's the big deal if you make all of your shots? And I mean, there isn't. If you make all of your shots, I mean, I get it. But what I will challenge you is look at how much effort you're putting in to make all of those shots. That's where you would see the signs of improvement. When you're having to make all of these intermediate shots, and if you're making all these intermediate shots, that's great and wonderful. I would personally rather see you make an intermediate shot or a hard shot, and your next one be easy or at least easier. And then that way, all the subsequent shots that follow after are also easier as well. We don't want to sit there and make one hard shot after another, because then that's when our cue ball control starts to spiral out of control. And eventually you're going to miss. So
Yeah, and
that's really the point. That's really the point of the tip position priority. And like I said, it deals more towards with rotational games because when you're playing 8-ball, we do want to try to limit the movement of our cue ball. Sometimes in 8-ball, we're going to have those patterns where we're going to play a 9-ball like type movement. But a lot of times when you got a nice wide open table, you kind of want to just like stop your cue ball, stun your cue ball, stop your cue ball, and so on and so forth. So that way the pattern is so much easier. But in 9-ball, that's less than ideal. Very rarely will you ever get a layout in 9-ball where you can just stop. They do come up, but not very often. And in 9-ball, you're going to either stop your cue ball, but a lot of times you're going to move your cue ball. And that's really where the tip position priority concept comes from, to where when you're rolling the ball around, you're going to be moving the cue ball around as well. Now, like I said, the exception would be, well, look at this layout. All I have to do is just play a bunch of stop shots. Okay, you got one layout out of hundreds of layouts where you're not going to be able to do that. I get it.
Right. And just to to add to that, I mean, that's why when you watch these pros and everybody always says, "Oh, they make the game look so easy." That's why.
Like, I guarantee
that's exactly why. So, all right. So I just flat out missed. Got a lucky 9-ball roll. Left him hooked on the 4.
Oh, that would have been a great kick and stick, but he hit it with a little bit too much spin there.
Yep. You saw it just kind of spin and just barely curl out.
Yep.
And I'm assuming by the way I looked at that, the 5 does slow roll into the side.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to stun into the 4 and use a 6 as a stopper. Yeah.
That's a great shot. That's a great shot.
And that was a gutsy shot, 'cause that was pretty thin into the side with draw.
Right. So, but do you see what's happening here? It's the same thing you did with ball in hand. One bottom spin shot after another, and you're nailing them. So I can't discredit you for that. But go back to the 5-ball. So you're hitting these shots. So like you don't lose any credit for what I'm talking about. But can you imagine if you would have just drew back just a couple of inches? Let me see. I'm gonna like indicate during the, or you can't play frame by frame, can you?
Not really, no.
Because see, like right there, if your cue ball was right there, now you can kind of shoot this with just a rolling, like a high outside, top right spin, and the cue ball is going to hit the short rail and then come and just slowly drift its way back towards the middle of the table, where you can play the same exact shot on the 7-ball, except your 7-ball, you would end up 2-railing out from the bottom right corner pocket and shoot the 9-ball into the same pocket. But
at the same point,
go ahead. Well, I was saying because you overdraw the 5-ball, now you have to draw the 6-ball, and then I don't remember what happened. We didn't let the 7-ball play out, but it's still to my point to where this is what, in my opinion, this is what I would like to see from you more often, is to think about this stuff and actually execute it. You could have played a stop shot here. I mean, this is a 7-foot table. I'm pretty sure even if the cue ball was the 5-ball, you could still cut that 6-ball into the corner pocket, especially if this is a valley.
It is, yeah.
This is a valley table?
Yeah. Dynamo, same difference. But I mean, and that's where we're looking at this here. While yes, the 5 goes in the side, it's kind of thin, but I mean, I do execute the draw. Another shot that I probably would have had a better outcome is shoot the 5 to the low left corner, which is like a little bit of a stun shot that just gets you out in the middle, and now you're going to have a natural position on the 6.
Well, notice how you said stun. You could just roll it
to the corner, to the low left corner.
Not stun, because anytime you're near the center of the cue ball or lower, you have to hit harder, because so that way whatever effect you're trying to put on the cue ball can actually stay. If you're just going to roll the cue ball, you're doing what a ball naturally wants to do: roll. Like that's it. But if you want, a center cue ball means the cue ball is going to slide a little bit before it starts rolling. So if you actually want the stun effect, your cue ball has to slide into the object ball, which means you kind of have to punch the cue ball. That's going to mean more power than you're probably intending on. versus
Yeah.
if you just roll the ball. So that way, if you try to cut the 5 ball down into the bottom left corner pocket, your cue ball will hit the side rail. Yes, it'll start drifting past the middle part of the table and you'll be on the other side of the side pockets, but you'll be in the middle of the table. The 6 ball is completely cuttable, and but you'll at least still be in a rolling position to where you can hopefully the main point is what I just said. You're doing what a ball naturally wants to do anyway. Roll. Whenever you control the cue ball, well, if your skill set deems it, control the cue ball all you want. But if you want to just allow the cue ball what it naturally wants to do anyway, that's just going to make it so much easier to control.
That makes sense.
So let's watch the draw shot on the 5. Let's watch the draw shot on the 6, and then see what you do on the 7, because I know I stopped you from there.
Yeah, and I think I end up leaving myself, like I do draw, but because of the cut angle, I think I leave myself a fairly long 7, bar box long. But at least,
I always love I love watching the cue ball peel out before it draws. Like, that's so pretty to watch.
Well, even you could tell on that one. I mean, I probably hit that about right there. Let's go back. Just because you can see the way, because it draws straight back, and then when it hits that rail, that spins through
out.
it.
Yeah.
Just to give me a little bit closer, more breathing room. A little bit of high inside.
That's a roll inside spin shot.
Too much inside, actually, because it got too close to the 9.
Exactly.
Had just enough to get it, though.
The way you just cut that 9 ball in would be the same way you could cut the 6 ball in, even if you were to just stop the cue ball on the 5 ball, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Whoa.
Nice little break there. Drew the cue ball
that
straight
one
back.
ball went
Not going to have a shot.
And I know we're just kind of beating this point up, but look at the and I think there must have been like a dead spot in the rack, because that one ball just rolls with the 3 straight to the side rail.
Yeah, like I said, that's the unpredictable stuff that you have no control over.
Yeah.
But like I said, we are watching your cue ball do many different things on each one of your breaks. That's what you have control over.
Yeah. And I know James well enough. He's never gonna, loose rack me. So I'm not.
Yeah, like
it's just the table itself fighting.
Yeah, certainly not suggesting that you're getting quote unquote bad racks. It's a triangle rack. It's a triangle rack on a league night. And we can't predict what kind of gaps we're gonna get as you undercut that 2 ball by a lot.
Yeah. Don't get behind the 7. Okay, yeah, just enough. Unfortunately, I think the 8 ball is going to get in the game.
Ouch.
He need to put a little bit of outside and a stroke to it.
Yeah, so go back to that to not the previous shot, but the previous shot before that. And again, this is
I'm being very his 2 ball.
Yes, I'm being very nitpicky when I talk about this stuff, but I think this is important. Notice how he plays the 2 and gets position on the 3. And notice what he does here. He chalks up his cue and gets down on the 3 ball and proceeds to shoot. Now, stop it here. I'm more than certain he knows he wants to get to the rail. He knows he wants the cue ball to come back. I'm more than certain he knows all of that, and I'm pretty sure he wants to actually get on the other side of the 8 ball, so that way he can shoot the 5 ball into the top right corner pocket. I'm sure he knows all of that, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's trying to do. I am very adamant about planning so that way it should be obvious. So in other words, if he were to place his, can you take the red dot and for heaven's sakes, put it on the head string?
Put it up here?
Yeah, on the head string. Now move it over to the right. Yeah, right there. Or go back to the left a little. More. Actually, we'll say right about there. After he made the 2 ball, if he would have just came over here and just stuck his cue down onto the table, right where that red dot is, he could then look at this shot and go, how the heck do I get there?
Right.
What do I need to do to get there?
Yeah.
Not what I think he's doing. let me shoot the cue ball like this because it's going to put me in this general region of where I think the cue ball is going to go. It's going to go in the general direction that I want it to go, and it's hopefully going to land in this general region.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to bet that's what's going through his head. Now, of course, I could be wrong.
Sure.
Like I said, I'm just very adamant when it comes to planning that if you do this type of planning, then you can say to yourself, well, how exactly am I going to get there? I can see that I'm going to hit the side rail. I'm probably going to need this much spin, and I have to hit it this hard.
Yeah.
Now let's go and execute it, and let's see if I'm right.
And that's
I think
where
stuff like that just goes a long way versus I know I'm going to cut the ball in. I know the cue ball is going to go to the left. I know it's going to hit the side rail. I'm going to hit it this hard, and I should get position. I should get shape. Like that's generally what I see most amateur players do. Amateurs that are on the lower skill level ladder, where there's not enough detail in their planning, and because there's not that much, there's not enough detail in that planning. This is where they tend to fall short. And I'm guilty of it as well, even at my level, to where I know certain times I don't plan enough, or I don't meticulously go. Like I might skip a step in my pre-shot routine, and sometimes I'm okay with doing it, and then a lot of times I'm not. I'll end up falling short of whatever it is I was trying to accomplish.
So, question for you then, because I know with what experience I have and at my skill level, I know I can, like, if I'm James right here, I can look at that cut angle, and if I would step around to see where do I need the cue ball to be able to get to see the 7, or see the 5, where I'm not behind the 8. And then I don't think in my head, I need to put a little bit top left, about like a 10 o'clock spin. Let's hit this at a 6 speed. I kind of just let my subconscious take over, because I've hit enough balls. I know how hard, I know what kind of spin I want. I just let my let my subconscious take over.
I think what you're talking about is, what we'll call it either being in dead stroke or being in flow. You're in flow state at that point, to where it kind of just naturally rolls off. And I mean, I don't have a particular issue about that. It's just one of those things to where there are certain shots we all know and understand that we don't have to apply any thought to. Mm-hmm. And we can pretty much, hit the cue ball a certain way and repeat results over and over again. But then when you're in match situations, everything is amplified at that point. Right. So where I think it would just be good practice that you don't have to do it on every single solitary shot, but you should be doing it on more shots than not on a rack. This shot here is a very important shot. If he doesn't hit the transition, he might end up losing the rack. Right. And so because this is an important shot, more detail in the planning should be in place.
Yeah.
And actually what Fuggles me on the YouTube chat says is perfect. Having a rail target helps. So if he would have targeted somewhere on the opposite rail, he would without a doubt not be hooked behind the 8 ball. He might have a difficult back cut shot on the 5 ball, but he would without a doubt not be hooked. Is that the 8 ball or the 6 ball? I can't tell.
8 ball, I'm pretty sure.
Good kick. But I hope all of that makes sense, because like I'm very, very particular about when it comes to detailed planning. And that also goes towards a comment that a buddy of mine said to me a while back, which I've taken really to heart, is the better you get, the more specific you get. The more specific in every little thing that you actually start doing. And that goes to the details of the planning, the details of the execution. All of that becomes more and more and more and more. Because sometimes as amateurs, the like we take a skill level 2 and go, I'm just going to send the cue ball towards the ball. I don't know what's going to happen after that. But then as they get better, they start to realize, well, when I send the ball towards the ball and I hit the ball on this side, I know the ball is going to go in this direction. Like, you can gradually see how more specific details start working into their knowledge base. And so that continues to carry on as you get better and better. And so when we're 8s and 9s and Fargo 500s, Fargo 600s, Fargo 700s, it all plays the same thing. Every time you get better and better, there's something more specific that's being added to your game. And that's where my comments are coming from.
That makes sense.
That was a great shot.
Good
Can
cut.
we
Put a
thin,
little bit of right on it, but
can we thin
not the
slice
best
this
of
one?
leaves.
A shot.
Good
This
recovery.
still works. Yep, this still works.
I just a little outside to avoid the scratch.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Not too bad. 56-20.
Okay, now you've leaned towards a flat break now. You've been doing a flat break more often.
Yeah. Also, safety break.
Yeah. At least in APA, we can call it a safety break.
Yes. High right. Not enough. Too flat in the to the head rail.
Okay, what are we gonna do here?
Too much. There we go. Over sent that one.
Okay. This is actually not bad.
Nah, that was terrible.
Okay, that was a bit unfortunate there. I don't think I would have hit it that hard. Go back to that shot.
Yeah, because
So what I wonder about is, you take your ball, you do slightly over roll it, but then I'm still looking at the cut angle and thinking like it's an okay cut angle to have. Go ahead and play it out.
well, but even that 3 ball goes to the low right corner. So it's not like I need to break it out.
So this is what I'm wondering once you get on the 2 ball though.
Which I was trying to get underneath the tangent line, high on the tangent for a little bit more natural, but I just way overstroked this.
Right. So what I'm wondering though, even from this cut angle, is if you could have hit this, like you probably still hit it as hard as you did because of the thin cut angle that you left yourself with. But if you were to put some right spin on the ball, I wouldn't be able to tell you how much really, but the idea would be, could you have hit the left side rail, go past the side pockets, past the 8 ball and past the side pocket, hit the right side rail, and kind of just zigzag your way to where you could still shoot the 3 ball into the bottom right corner pocket like you talked about, rather than that.
Yeah, because that ain't pretty. Definitely made myself work way harder on the 3 than I wanted.
For sure.
Now I'm going to have a full table back cut and overcut it.
Almost.
Okay, so the 3 did go by. He must have hit that with some high right because the way that cue ball checked up that second rail. See, like that, he did not need that kind of stroke.
Well, let's go back to the 3 ball. And actually take him off camera, go back a little bit more, because again we're watching. I'm judging based off of demeanor and how they actually act or portray themselves at the table, because you overcut this 3 ball slightly, like you almost made it. So here's the issue. Go ahead and let's do a stop right here first, and that is this. We already know he can make the 3 ball, and I mean, heck, from that position he could probably play position for the 4 ball in either of the corner pockets. Really. But here's the thing though, that 5 ball, right? That 5 ball has a very small shape zone.
Yes.
Because the 6 ball's blocking a lot of it. Heck, even the 8 ball's blocking
even
part
the
of the
8 ball's
shape
blocking,
zone.
yeah.
Right? That shape zone is really small. So what does that mean? That means the shot on the 4 ball becomes very important, because how do you get position on that 4 ball to where you can hopefully, as easy as possible, hit that shape zone on the 5 ball?
Right.
when we watch James walk into the frame of the camera, I don't see that attention to detail. That's why I'm commenting on it, because the shot from the 4 to the 5 becomes very important, which means the shot from the 3 to the 4 becomes very important, because you
Yeah.
got to make sure that the cue ball is going to go from the 3 to the 4 to land in such a way to where you can now move from the 4 to the 5 and hit that shape zone. I just didn't see the planning here, and that's why I wanted to comment on that.
Yeah. Backyard Billiards. How you doing, buddy? Thank you for joining. All right, so
So notice how he chalks his cue, looks at the shot to see that it passes the 8 and says, "Oh, there's the 4 ball," and then here we go.
yeah, it almost looked like he glanced at the 9 just to make sure he knew where the cue ball was not going to crash into it or something. And now he's trying to draw to the side rail. It looks like low right,
Yep.
and no pre-stroke pause, just swing and a whiff. So this should be straight top 2, call it 3 rails for shape.
Nicely done. Nice rolling inside shot. This can be a rolling outside spin shot. So top left.
Yep.
And go 2 rails. 1, 2.
Yeah, most of those shots I hit about right there.
Now that's this one you got a little flat on, so that's no big deal. I expect a bottom left shot here. But the thing is that if you would have gotten a thin cut shot, not too terribly thin, but a thin cut shot instead of a bottom left spin shot, you could do a rolling left spin shot and zigzag your way up to the 7 ball.
Yeah.
But this is fine. This is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and 8 ball's still on the left side of that side pocket, so I should be able to just smooth slide it down the table.
Nicely done.
And he basically said, "You're good." He gave it to
I
me.
would have made you shoot that. What?
Oh,
You
I
were
know.
behind the 9 ball. You were supposed to shoot that.
But here's the thing: if you're giving it to me, I'm taking it. I'm not.
No, for sure. I get it.
Unless
nice
it's
break.
like an important match where I'm like, no, I want to make sure I make every ball. I'm not trying to fumble the money ball, something like that. But
right.
okay, so 67-21, 65 at the beginning of the rack. I just need a good breaking round to finish this one off. Doesn't look like a great layout.
Not exactly, since we don't really have decent position on the 1 ball.
Yeah. Let alone a bank combo. And I went.
Oh, you went for it. Okay, I definitely
for
thought
about
you were going to play
a
safe
diamond
on
wide.
that one. Oh, that's definitely a checkout stroke.
Yep.
I get it, brother. We've all been there.
I mean, when your opponent's less than a rack and you still need more than 4, I get it, but at that point, it's just minimize the damage.
Right.
Now, this is just league night. It's not like, a postseason tournament that's like, okay, I just got to get as much as I need, but, I get it.
Well, I mean, I get being hard on yourself, because I'm hard on myself all the time. And so to your comment about it's just the league night. Well, I'm pretty sure James doesn't want to lose.
No.
Right? And nobody wants to lose, right? So there's the difference between, how much pressure are you going to put on yourself to where once you start losing this badly, do you just actually give up?
Right.
Do you try to fight your way to the top? Because like besides having a smashing victory, besides having a smashing victory, there's no greater victory than to have an awesome comeback, right?
Right.
All right, so what happened here, though? We did a nice inside spin shot, went 3 rails around for the 3 ball into the side pocket, but then we get an unfriendly bump and tie the 4 ball up with the 5 ball.
Yeah, even this right here, and I think it's just because I've been drawing everything this match. I don't even hit the side rail. I draw straight to this low head rail with like what would be low with a little bit of left, and it curls into the 4, When in reality, and I know this before you say anything, this is a rolling ball into the side. Go, call it 3 rails for shape into the 4 in the low left. Like, I know
I mean,
this
you can
shot.
get you can do 3 rails for the 4 in the low left, like you talked about, or you could have just soft rolled it, 1 railed off the side rail, and shoot the 4 in the side pocket.
Possibly, yeah. Oh, into the
Right?
right side or
The
left side?
yeah, the 4 and the 5 would go into the same side pocket.
Got it. So there I was actually trying, like, I'm up by a lot and I'm still going into safe mode. I was trying to
You're
just
supposed to.
skim the 4 with straight right and get that cue ball to hit the headrail and then curl back behind the 8 and hook them.
Yep. Nope. You're supposed to. Your opponent's on tilt. There's nothing worse than when your opponent's on tilt is to make him go further on tilt by playing safe. I get it. I get it.
Yep.
Oh, hey Chuck, what's going on, man? You said backyard billiards is in the house.
Yep.
That was a great shot.
I'd say that was decent speed.
Let's see what you do here. Stretched over the table.
Show how short I am.
That was another really well shot. That was shot really well.
Thank you.
That was shot terrible. What is that all about?
All right. I'm waiting for who's the first one in the chat to say same shooter. Goodness. Of all balls, that 9 ball. You make the hard shots, miss the easy.
Miss the easy ones. Yep.
Ooh, son of a gun. Now that was a really good pop squat right there.
Yep. Which I'm imagining that's what he was trying to do on his first break that I commented on when his cue ball turned loose and actually went up table.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is give up stroke.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're in give up stroke though, you can catch a gear and really start catching some points.
And he's not showing it right now, but I'm telling you, James is a great shot. So I never count him out.
We're gonna roll this for a 5-9 combo.
No, I think I draw behind the 5 because it's
Okay, I want to play the 5 in the side of the corner. I got it. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, just enough angle to get over there.
And the two game winning shots right here.
Yep.
And he went ahead and let you have it there. So that's awesome. So I really liked what I saw here overall as far as your performance, but you can still see what I'm talking about because a lot of what I mentioned is what I mentioned previously. So those would be some of the reminders that I think you would want to make sure that you add to your game. And again, it's up to you whether or not if you want to physically show this stuff on camera, because you record your matches as well. You kind of commentate through your matches for your viewers to actually see. So if you want to be able to illustrate these points of why it's so important to be that specific in your planning. So that way, not only can you have a commanding lead like this, but you can even have a bigger lead. Because on all the shots that you basically faltered on was either just a generic miss, which is going to happen all the time. They're unavoidable for us as amateurs. But then some of those other misses, I think, were just because of lack of planning. And regardless of whether or not if you plan enough, there's still going to be the execution. You can plan all you want, but if your execution just isn't there, then okay, fine. But still, I think in the long run, it'll just serve you better when you have more planning than what you than. More planning on top of the planning that you did during this match.
Yeah, I agree. Thought I'd say hello to Dumb Ref. Guy watches all my videos, commentates all the time. He asked if I'll post the finished product. This stream will stay live on YouTube, and then probably in like a month or something, I will go chop these up into multiple videos for your future reference. So.
I need to start doing that with mine then. If I start live streaming my matches again, and then just I
Yeah.
started doing that. I started doing that actually when I was in my break, when especially like when I was recovering from my surgery. I
Yeah.
actually went back to a lot of old APA live streams, cut out individual matches where I actually illustrated a lot of good points, and then just published them
Yeah.
separately. Referenced how old the videos were in the new published video, and then still went through all the same points after that.
Makes sense.
I might start doing that. That'll make things a little bit easier.
Whatever gets you back and rolling, brother. I know.
That's
I
for
know. I've
sure.
been missing seeing little Chris pop up on my feed. All right, so let's take a 5-minute break,
Sure.
and then we can jump into an 8-ball match.
Does anybody in the chat have any questions?
Let's see here. Iggy says, "Good to see Lil Chris." Always, always agree with that. Let's see. Chris, have you done a table toughness test on the new one?
So not to the point of what he's asking, because I think it was Dr. Dave that recently published a video about how to test how difficult your table is by measuring the pocket size openings and the angles of which the stuff is cut, how deep the shelves are, and stuff like that. I haven't done that specifically,
Hmm.
but I have commented that at this particular point in time, because of the condition of my table being so new, pocket speed does not exist on my table. I think I at least illustrated it a little bit during my last live stream, where it's like I know and understand that generally speaking, we wouldn't want to have our object ball brush a rail before it goes in. But even as amateurs, we're just so spoiled that we can hit a diamond before the pocket, and the ball will still go in. Sometimes even worse, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you hit the ball soft enough. But if you hit the ball too hard, like there's no chance it'll just bobble its way out. Well, on my table, it doesn't matter how soft you hit the ball. There are rare occasions where I can just like glance the rail and it might go in, but more times than not, if I catch the rail, the ball's not going to go in. It's just going to bobble. Maybe as the table gets older, maybe it'll lighten up. But we'll just have to wait and see.
I didn't watch a video from Dr. Dave. I'll check it out. What do you know what the width of your corner pockets are?
They're pro cut pockets, so I have 4.5 inch corner pockets and 5 inch side pockets.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what my now. Granted, I've got a 7-foot valley in my basement, but that's about what mine are.
I like Iggy's questions here, saying that you're going to take some of these points that were given, so that's great. To your next practice for sure. You want to know, does the planning phase ever get easier, faster as time goes on? The obvious answer is yes. And it's as simple as anything you practice gets easier. Anything that you practice, you start to do quicker. So the thing is that when you actually try to emphasize and stuff that you're working on, you automatically do it slower, right? So to make sure that you're doing it right, to be thorough. And so by definition, you are going to play slower, but hopefully not to a point to where an opponent's complaining, right?
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't want to suggest that you start being so thorough that you're taking like 2 or 3 minutes a shot,
Right.
right? When you're only allowed like a minute. But if you're exhausting the 45 second to like, I think it's a minute, 45 seconds to a minute, if you're exhausting that every single solitary time, me personally, I'm not going to care. I would say more to it that you should do it. And when your opponent says, "Hey, could you shoot a little quicker?" and you just look at them and go, "No, just wait till I miss." Like that's really what it's going to boil down to. Like if you're taking 50 seconds a shot and you're not missing a shot and your opponent's complaining that you're taking too long, well, let them complain because you're still at the table. You're not violating a rule, nothing. You're just your opponent's trying to get you to play to their preference. And that's not the case. You're going to make them play to your preference, which means they can shoot after you miss. which hopefully you'll be doing less and less.
Now, that is unless you play Ultimate Pool. I got to throw it out there.
Correct. Because you do have a shot clock, in Ultimate, which is 30 seconds. Which is 30 seconds though. So if you want to exhaust that, you basically take in like 25 seconds a shot. I get it.
Yeah, and 30 seconds. It's funny how many people when you talk to about it and like, oh my god, that's not enough time. Like trust me, it's actually a lot more time than you think. Now, do you have time to walk the entire table and plan everything? No, you don't. You get one 30-second extension to have a full minute on a single shot in a rack. You got to use it sometimes when it's key, but other than that, there are times you just have to think a little bit quicker, get down and fire. But traditionally speaking, yes, slow down, take your time.
It's from the movie The Hustler. It's one of my favorite lines at the end when Paul Newman is going on his monologue when he's running his first rack of straight pool to beat Minnesota Fats, and he keeps just talking and talking and talking and talking, and eventually Minnesota Fats just looks at him and goes, "Shoot pool fast, Eddie," and he just looks back at him and says, "I'm shooting pool fats. When I miss, you can shoot." Like there's no better statement than that.
Right?
So when you're going through your meticulous pre-shot routine, and yes, if you find that it's to a point to where you're playing just like overwhelmingly slow, then you're definitely going to want to try to speed it up to some normal, quote unquote, normal pace. But when you're within the pace of the rules, just keep on rolling, and your opponent can shoot when you miss.
Let's see. Backyard Billiards asking what stick I play with. In this video, I was still playing with my Predator 9K3, but then the shaft is from a company called Wheat State, gentleman that makes custom shafts. He used to produce all the shafts for White Carbon before they got sold out to 6060. So then he started his own company called Wheat State. He's based out of Kansas, where I live. He's 3 hours south of me, but he makes the best playing shafts I've ever played with. So I did somewhat recently switch over. I bought the new Q-Tech Shane Van Boning Gen 2 White Q. Absolutely beautiful. And so I ordered a new shaft from Wheat State. And it's a dream. It's a beautiful Q. The weight balance is fantastic. Absolutely love my Q. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
Let's see. I think that's all the questions I see so far.
All right, then. So shall we roll on to the next match?
Let's take a 5-minute break. I'm going to run upstairs and real quick. Let's take a moment and I'll be back here shortly.
Okay.
Alrighty. Let's switch over here. Go ahead, change the video real quick. Okay. So yeah, now we're gonna switch over to APA APA 8-ball.
All right. So look, completely different strategy. Since
Mhm.
we're not going to be dictated by the pattern, because we can shoot at whatever ball that belongs to our set. So that's why you
Yeah.
heard me say earlier about how with 8-ball you generally would like to try to minimize your cue ball as much as possible. But I know a lot of times I've seen it to where players that like to play 9-ball try to play 8-ball like 9-ball, which means they're flaring their cue ball around a lot. And that could be
Right.
very detrimental. Very detrimental. So let's see how well you minimize your cue ball movement. How much planning do you
Yeah.
put into your patterns to where you are trying to move your cue ball as little as possible?
So, and I purposely chose this match. This is a Geo. He plays in my league, obviously. This guy's been getting quite a bit better real quick. Um, he's an APA 6 and then I think he's still a 7 and 9-ball, but I think he's a 515 Fargo. But his game is leveling up very fast. So I'm watching. I'm like, he's definitely increasing skill. So I figured this would be a good match to be able to show him and let him kind of see what he's doing, and we can discuss it like we have been.
Yep. I noticed you're doing the second ball break
I
for
do.
this one. And so the same break advice would apply here. If you're going to hit that if you're going to hit that second ball, target it, right? It's the only ball on the table. So where exactly do you want to contact it in order to try to create a consistent hit? Here, I
Right.
would definitely say that two things are either happening. Either you're cutting that ball way too much, or you're not putting enough bottom spin, which is what led to your scratch, because your cue ball should not be going around the rack. You should be trying to
Yeah.
hit the side rail and either come back through the rack or come through the middle of the table. One
Yeah.
or the other. You definitely don't want to go behind the rack.
Yeah. I definitely aim my 8-ball rack. I aim a little bit of low left, kind of like this, and then I aim at the left edge of the second ball that meets the third ball. That's where my aim is, because that little bit of left deflects it to hit full into the second ball.
Mm-hmm. I would probably
That's
say
my
that maybe
mindset.
put it. I would
But
probably say
I
maybe try to put a little bit more draw then, if that's a consistent aim that you do there.
it is, but that one I saw the way it glanced. I actually clipped the head ball.
Oh, okay. All right. So APA, this is ball in hand behind the head string.
I want to give a quick shout. Hello, Adam and Molly. I see you guys. He just texted me a picture. He's got the live stream up on his TV.
That's
He actually
awesome.
he lives like 2 minutes from my house. He says he's gonna break in the house and come mess up the live stream. No, you're not, buddy.
You're
I
gonna
got
get
Michelle
swatted.
upstairs. She's gonna stop that.
All right, so nice little stop shot there from your opponent, but being on the rail, let's see how he decides to pick apart his pattern.
Yeah, he's got definitely fine shape for that 10, and I don't think he got it there. If he can see the 10, this is absolutely the best time to take it. Looks like he's going the 11 though.
That a little on the soft side. I say soft because I thought he was going to move from that ball to the 10 ball.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought.
It's like you said, I do agree that 10 ball is the problem that he has now. He's dealing with it. He's dealing with it rather well. But
Yeah.
now he has to really move his cue ball to get back on that 11 ball.
I mean, if he can, oh, See, and that's where I think just a little bit of left to get it towards the 7. Even if you bump the 7, it's fine, but no spin, put him behind it.
Now, I will grant you that that if he would have shot it differently, then clearly, he could have had a better result. But I would argue that he should have played a completely different pattern. So can we
Okay.
go back to his ball and hand shot?
From the very beginning?
Yeah. And actually, this is probably the only time I'll actually highlight or talk about the opponent's pattern, because I should be focusing more on you. But this is more
No, good.
about lessons more than anything else.
Absolutely.
So you just talked about how important that 10 ball is, because it's behind the 2 and the 8. It's difficult to get position on it. So the question is how. So now we're starting with ball in hand behind the head string. I would wonder, because I could be wrong based on the camera angle, could he have shot the 11 right now and then try to get position on the 10 like I thought he was going to do earlier? If that is the case, then that is definitely how I would have led this run out with. You shoot the 11 ball, if you get all the way over there to where you can pass the 2 stripes that are in the middle, shoot the 11 ball with a rolling cue ball, hit the short rail, come back up. Yes, we can risk getting behind the 8 ball, but that's a risk we have to accept, because if we hit that shot and take the 10 ball out, the 9 ball is right there. Everything else is lickety split, and the rack could be over. So one could always argue, well, if I'd have just shot the shot that I messed up on, or if I would have made the shot that I missed, everything would be okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. But in rotation games, a lot of the times your mess up is not because of the shot that you missed. It's the shots that you took that led up to the miss. To where if you can improve the cue ball transitionings from one shot to the next, then hopefully whatever shot that you missed will be a little bit easier. So therefore you can make it a little bit better. In the case of 8 ball, that still remains true, but what is also added is the pattern that you play. If you actually pick a better pattern where you prioritize balls that you consider to be in trouble, because in this case here with ball in hand behind the head string, I do believe the rack is runnable. So he could actually end the rack. He can win the rack from here. Sometimes you do end up with patterns where I don't care what your skill set is. It's just not runnable. You just got to figure out how to out strategize your opponent to where you're going to allow your opponent to come back under a very certain condition in hopes that you're going to be able to get back to the table.
Right.
So in this case here, I would definitely be trying to figure out how to prioritize getting position on that 10 ball very quickly rather than towards the end like he did. Right, beautiful shot there. I'd be curious to know if that 9 ball passes the 11 ball.
It looks like it does. Now, he's on the rail, so you're not going to really be able to do anything other than a rolling, soft roller, but he should have been able to roll that 9 by.
Yeah, but right here, if anything, I think he should have played from the 11 to the 10. And then that would have changed everything, because then you go from the 10 to the 9, 9 to the 11, and you're automatically, or 9 to the what ball? The 15, 9 to the 15, because he just shot the 11. Because then he would have natural position on the 8 ball.
And even before he shot the 11, I didn't see him step aside behind the cue ball. Like, can he even see the 10 right there? He just went straight at the 11 because that's the next seeable ball.
So in this instance here, it's like, okay, well, can I get away with hitting the ball softer so that way I don't get hooked behind that 7 ball? I mean, sure, right? But I'd rather you be in a position where you don't have to play that.
All right.
Because that ball would have been gone a long time ago. Because now, this is where I find it funny on sometimes when people say, well, I only lost by 1 ball. And I'm like, yeah, but you lost.
Yeah.
Right? I
is that
played
the Fast
well
and Furious rule? It doesn't matter if you lose by an inch or a mile. Losing, winning's winning.
You still lose. Where when you look at something like this, you think like Stripes is doing good. No, Stripes is in trouble now, because in this particular position, regardless of what you do in this inning, your opponent has to wait for you to miss so badly that you grant him a shot at his last strike.
Right.
Now, you started with the that ball there, which was the 2 ball. I don't have a
Yep.
particular issue with that, but now I'm curious of what the rest of your out's going to be. A little bit of a rolling shot as you come off the short rail there. Did we come out enough so we could shoot the 5? Looks like maybe we did. That looks good. So I'm already seeing where I have one small little problem with the pattern that you're playing, but let's see how it plays out.
Okay.
Okay, looks like our next ball is going to be the 7 ball. Oh, what a shot. Nicely done.
Thank you. That's, this should be a slight rolling ball, just so I can do a stop shot on the 3. Unless, because I don't.
Okay, I like this pivot that you did there. And it's for this reason. I actually thought the 6 and the 7 might have been the last ball that you were going to use, and that's really where I was going to have the disagreement on. But what an unfortunate miss, because that way you have the natural position that you'd want on the 8 ball. So let's go back to your ball in hand, and let's look at the layout and let's look at the pattern. So ideally, I would think that maybe the 3, the 5, or the 1 probably should be the key ball to the 8 ball. The key ball meaning it's the last ball that you're going to shoot at before you get position on the 8 ball.
Sure.
And so that also means, well, when you decide to pick whatever ball you're going to shoot at before the 8 ball, what ball is going to allow you to easily get position on that ball, and then what ball is going to allow. So you kind of start with your 8 ball and you kind of just start working backwards. Now, I'm not going to suggest that you have to work all the way backwards,
Right.
but maybe 3 or 4 balls altogether, and that's including the 8 ball. So the 8 ball plus 2 or 3 other balls, and then you figure out how do you with the remaining balls. So we saw earlier, you shot the 4, and then you shot the 5, and then you shot the 1. So that's a nice 3-ball pattern to where after you shot the 1, you could have gotten position on the 8. So that means we have the 2, 3, 6, and 7. So what kind of pattern could we run to where we can enter into the 4-ball to enter that last end sequence? To where no matter what, after you shoot the 4, 1, and the 5, we would be done. We would have automatic position on the 8 ball. Whereas what you did, you got position you took your ball in hand, you shot the 2 ball in, and then you shot the 4, 5, and the 1.
Yep.
Then you pivoted because I thought you were going to shoot the 3, which was going to require you to shoot the 6 and 7, and then you have to come back down like above the side pockets again in order to shoot the 8. So I don't know. Here, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, I would kind of think maybe using the 6 or the 7 to kind of set up for the 4 ball. But does what I'm saying here make sense to where this is how I would end up changing your pattern here to where maybe instead what you could have done was 2, 4, 3, and then remove the 5 or the 1, but leave one of them there, because like I said, any ball down table is the ball that I think you should use as a key ball. So that way you're automatically behind the 8 ball to shoot it in the corner pocket here. And then that way you don't have to do any movement. Now, that's just starting from the ball in hand. We take the pattern that you originally played, and then when you did that pivot, that was a good pivot, because then it allowed you to be, naturally in position. One could also argue, why wouldn't the 2 ball be the key ball? So that way you can kind of just, hit a draw shot,
right off of it,
or do something. That's perfectly fine as well. Because really, if I want to go with that, then maybe I would have taken ball in hand and started with the 5 or the 1, or heck, maybe even start with the 4 ball and get, because the 5 and the 1, those 2 balls are kind of funny. Right. Yeah. They're so close together to where if you can't shoot the 5, then you clearly can't shoot the 1. But since
the 1's only home right now is a low left to take it long.
Yeah. So that's where like I said, just being a little nitpicky on the pattern play there, especially with the selection, the first selection with ball in hand. Is there any issue with what you did? No, not really, because of the pivot that you
Yeah.
did, but I do think we could have made it just a little bit easier.
Yeah, Fuggles also asked why the two first, and I think the reason I chose it is because it's so close to the rail and it narrowly sneaks by the 8. I didn't want to have any kind of weird cut shot on it that forces another shape. So if I can
Right.
go ahead and get the most trouble ball off the table, which in my opinion right now is the 2 or possibly the 5, because there's the only ones that need any kind of shape. That's why I didn't want to do it, because yes, you could use the 2 as your key ball, but you want to leave somewhat near this lower long rail to be able to just stun right off of it. And I didn't have an entire pattern picked out to leave that 2 as my key. So that was just
Right.
kind of my mindset. The reason I was, and yes, I was trying to go from the 5 to the 1 and then take the 3, because in my mind I was like, let's take care of everything up top, then take care of the 3 in the middle, and then the 6, 7, 8 will be the last 3. But I over rolled off of the 1, so then the 3 ball, I'm back cutting it, meaning the cue ball is either going long or I got to run it around 2, 3 rails for shape. So you know what? That's when I did pivot and I changed it to where now the 3 is going to be my out ball. So
I can
that was
see
kind
that.
of my mindset.
I'm still trying to look and see, like, is there a better pattern that we could have started with, to where the 2 ball is not the ball that we would start with. I'm kind of liking Fuggel's idea about starting with the 5, um, but I'm just kind of struggling to really put together like an optimal, like a
Right.
really optimal pattern. Like the first thing that's just coming to my mind for right now is, what about if we draw off the 5, be straight
Yep.
in with the 5 and draw back to get position, to get nice and flat on the 2. Go ahead and play the 2 past the 8 like you did. Soft roll the 4 ball, so that way we can play the 3 in the side. That leaves you with the 6, 7, and the 1 left. To
So
where you
so
play
you're
the
saying
6 in the
start with the
corner.
5 and draw back to get flat on the 2?
You don't have to get completely flat. I mean,
Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
is
flat-ish.
you've got some leeway that you can play with for the position on that 4 ball. But because like even that, if we don't take the 4 ball out fairly soon, that ball also becomes a funny ball, because the 15 ball kind of blocks a lot of the shape zone that we're looking
Right.
at. But that's just one example that I see, because moving the 5 or the 1 just completely opens up the other ball. So that's why I kind of like Fuggel's idea of starting with the 5 or the 1, because whichever one you start with, you completely open the other ball up, to where the 4 ball can naturally lead you to that other ball as well. So
So
just
back
something to think about.
yeah. Backyard says I like the 2, then the 5 and bump the 1 towards the other corner.
I would disagree with that, because why bump a ball when you don't need to?
Yeah, you can move it to the headrail in more of a trickier spot or something like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and
right now,
that's where my buddy Adam, who I was just talking about, has been preaching to me, don't move a ball unless a ball needs moved.
right. So that's
So,
why, to Fuggel's point, if you start with the 5 ball, the 1 ball is opened up. If you start with the 1 ball, the 5 ball is opened up. So therefore,
right.
nothing has to be bumped. All you have to do is maintain cue ball control.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that. Let's go back to your dramatic
Okay.
miss.
Yeah, let me show you how. And even right here, I still think if I just roll this 7 forward so I can do a stop shot on the 3, then I'm out. But I stop this. Don't get me wrong. I think you're right
That's
though.
okay. Like,
It's really more just the fact that, well, you just missed a ball.
like I said, it's a miss. Misses happen. I
Yeah,
get it.
I am quite aware. All right, so Geo should probably just cut this to the top right and just stun side to side.
Nicely done.
Yeah. I've played Geo enough. We don't have to mark pockets. There we go. Pro length bridge on that miss. Way too long of a bridge. That's my forte. I definitely lengthened my bridge way too much, and I'm working little by little of getting it where it needs to be. But back, you kind of fall into old habits. You bring it back out. Hold on, stop. So I am
Right.
making a conscious effort of that. That's for sure. All right, what do you make? Made one solid.
One solid. So this is disgusting.
Is he trying to 3-ball combo that? Like walk that 3 or walk the 5 down?
Looked like that's what he tried.
And that's where
Okay,
he could have played the
so
billiard.
this is where let's pause here. This is where I would have to say again, is this rack runnable? I think it's fairly obvious to everybody what is the problem on the table, and that's that corner
It's that
where the
corner.
6-ball blocks three of your stripes.
Yep.
Right. So the question is going to be: is can you come up with a plan to deal with that? And does your skill set even allow you to deal with that? This is where everybody just has to be honest with themselves of what they can and cannot do. That's another thing that gets in players' ways is themselves. Is saying I can do anything. Right? I'm a skill level 3, but I play like a skill level 9 or a
Hey
skill
man,
level 8.
I've made that shot before. I can make it again.
Right? Everybody gets in their own way versus humbling yourself and saying, here's what I know I can do, and here's what I know I can't do, and let me just stick with doing things that I know that I can do. To the point to where it's like, well, is it really to any of your benefit that I already saw you were about to shoot that 10 ball into the side pocket and probably start pecking away at some of the balls that or some of your stripes, and then you're going to go deal with those 3 stripes down there? That's not going to be helpful at all.
No, it's not.
Because it's going to be, like I said before, to where now you have to wait for your opponent to miss for you and grant you a shot.
Right.
So again, if you have the skill set to figure out how to get that 6-ball out of there, then by all means go ahead and go for it. But I would say, as a generic type of planning, and considering who the opponent is as a skill level 6, this is not to downplay your opponent. I'm just saying as a skill level 6 in general, I'd wonder, could you just knock the 9 into the 6 right now and open that pocket up? Because your
Just
13
slow
ball
roll it,
is
especially then, because you can even slow roll the cue ball behind the 11 or near the 11.
Right, because your 13 ball is blocking that 7, and your opponent has no decent ball to get position on the 7 to shoot it into the open pocket.
Correct.
So, in my opinion, playing a move like that is to your advantage. You open up the pocket for your 3 stripes, and you have a fairly good probability that you're going to get back to the table because of that 7 ball. That make sense?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens though. Let's see how you play this out. Okay, 1 soldier down. You definitely shoot the 9-6 now.
Yeah.
This is dangerous if you're doing what I think you're doing. Yep. Try to get down there to see if you can actually maybe bump into it or something. Now, this would be cool if you can actually knock the 12 into the 6 and they both fall. Not quite though. But this is still good. We didn't terribly overrun everything. This is the way I think it should have been handled. Again, someone better than me and someone better than both of y'all could have probably figured out how to actually solve the entire rack in that inning. But I think this is a very good strategic play here, given that your opponent's 7 ball is pretty pinned at this point.
That was a good shot.
That was a great shot.
especially if he could see the edge of the 3 now. Go ahead and take it because he's on the wrong side of the 4 to leave the 3. I think.
Well, this goes back to what I was saying about that 7 ball, though, because if he's going to peck off all of these other balls here
Yeah.
and then leave that 7 last, he's not doing himself any favors. Ooh. All right.
I mean, it goes to the top
I think
right.
this is good. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is good. Your opponent definitely can steal this rack here from this position.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, it's getting tricky now.
Yeah.
I wish the cue ball didn't roll that much to the 2 ball, because this move you got to make from the 2 to the 4 now is really tough. A little unfriendly bump there for a friendly bump there from your ball. Wow. Okay. Hey, the all critical shot here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, hopefully he's not point hooked.
I don't know. I don't think so. Because it looked like it almost bounced just out just that little bit. And nope, saw it.
Nicely done. Nicely done. APA 7 versus an APA 6. So this is a race to 5-4.
Yep. He's halfway home. Oh.
Oh, nice little hop there.
No kidding.
It's like you made both a solid and a stripe. Yeah.
2 stripe or yeah, one of each. If the only question is the 14. If the 14 goes to this low right pocket, stripes are
past the the 6. Oh, that was unfortunate.
Oh, but look at that. Just tied me up.
You have an open table.
I mean, stripes look great, but I don't have a start. I moved the 14 though.
Can we get a pause here because I want to address a comment here. Backyard Billiards, it says I hate take what you make. I understand why. To which I would still counter that. I think I mentioned this on the last time we talked about being on your live stream, about when you want to present yourself as a good player, right? If you, whatever you make on the table and you see that it's easier to run the other set and it's harder to run the set that you just made, well, you took the easy route out versus showing how good you are to take the harder set out, right? So that's where it's like, well, okay, I get it, right? It's certainly a valid argument, because it's not about showing how good you are. It's about freaking winning, right? So you would definitely want to take the easier set out in order to do that. So I see where like me, like I like both. I get the reasoning for both, to where it's like, we're watching, you try to demonstrate whatever skill that you would want to portray out to your viewers. And so when you present to your viewers this harder out and you get that harder out, and then of course everybody else would look at like, man, if you didn't have to take that, look how much easier. Well, what difference does it make? You said so yourself. This route was easier. I was forced to play the harder out and I got it. Right? Like, so that's just bragging rights at that point. But for the sake of competition, right? I get it, right? You'd want to hopefully be able to take the easier set when you have a choice to play solids or stripes after making a ball on the break. I totally get it.
I mean, that's like when I practice with Michelle, we practice when we play 8-ball, we practice BCA, so it's open after the break. But after the
Mhm.
break, I always look at what's easier and what's harder, and I go after what's harder. I'm the higher
That's
handicap. I should shoot the harder pattern versus just breaking and running or whatever on her and leaving her tricky shots. I don't. So
that's good practice.
yeah, exactly. But that's practice. How do you not strive to be like the professionals? And I don't think any pro 8 ball tournaments are take what you make.
This is true. This is true.
But
Like I said,
not a
it's
lot of
only in
pro tournaments run 8 ball.
yeah, but even pro eight ball tournaments is take what you make. Very true, Trevor. And it's good to see you, Trevor. I know I haven't really posted a whole lot of content, and I know you're usually in on my live stream, so it's good to see you over here.
I was gonna say I don't recognize the name. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Which speaking of, he actually took solids. Oh wow, that was a
Oh,
cut.
what a shot!
Dang. Gio brought the scissors out for this. He's cutting everywhere.
Yeah, but this goes back to like it to me. It's always important when you come to the table, and that is ask this question: can I run this?
Right.
And be honest with yourself, because if the answer is no, then you definitely need to find a spot where you're going to stop, like try to block a pocket or whatever. Now so
Well,
far,
like right
like
now,
I like
what's the shot?
I like what
Bank
I've
the
seen
7?
here.
You know.
Well, if he cuts the 7 ball in, he's going to bump the 6 ball. And it's going to come near that 14 ball. Will it be out in the open? Is the question.
I don't think he can cut the 7. I think the 6 is too far in front.
Okay.
I've been enjoying your channel for the past year. Well, thank you, Trevor. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. So from here, like, ask the question: is this rack runnable? The answer is yes. So
Yeah.
let's pick our pattern. You're starting with the ball that I think you should be starting with. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, hang it.
Nowhere since you can't make it.
That was a lot harder shot than it seemed. I challenge you to shoot that, Chris.
Actually, the way I've been playing lately, I probably would have missed it too.
You know, when you only play one night a week, I get it.
Ooh, that's a good shot. I like that. I clearly would think he would have wanted to be straight in on that 5 ball for I'm gonna call it the top left corner pocket. So that way he can just roll the cue ball. This is gonna be a stunning ball where he's gonna come off the side rail.
Good shot, but man, did he hit that hard.
I don't think he had to hit it that hard. He's fortunate that he got position.
Yeah.
But definitely cue ball definitely went the route that I thought it was going to take. And then he takes that. You're getting your butt kicked in this match.
It happens, my friend. I'm telling you, it happens. I don't only post wins.
That's good. That's good on you, because I do the same thing.
I'm not that guy.
I post my losses as well.
Absolutely. I'm not here for bragging rights or, I mean, you guys see me miss a ball in hand and doing stupid stuff. This is not a brag. Okay.
I think this is another open table.
Yeah. Looks like this one, 2 solids down, 1 stripe. So starting right here, what do you like, solids or stripes?
Well, if the ball that's next to the 8 ball, if that ball passes and goes to the corner pocket, it's stripes all day long. As far as I can tell. I'm trying to look at what the out is, though.
I'm assuming that's the 15.
Man, this is a little tricky because of that 11 ball. because I like the 14 ball being last to go into the pocket where his hand is over, and then the 8's going to go into the side once I move those 2 stripes. It's that 11 ball that's actually throwing me for a loop to really try to figure out how to move things around here.
You'd have to leave yourself a stop shot on the 12 so you can cut that 11 to the bottom left.
Exactly. So what ball allows me to get that stop shot position? Do I try to get it now off of the 10 ball, maybe with like a stun right cue ball, and try to come in between the 13 and the 12, so that way I can shoot the 12? That's one possibility. Man, I just don't know, but even the ball that's next to the 8 ball makes this rack a little tricky as well. Let's see what your opponent does. Like we've identified the problem.
Assuming that 15 goes top left, I like starting with the 10 high, just a little bit of right, and then ideally trying to leave for a stop shot on that 12. If you don't have it, you've got the 13, and then you've got that 15 to the top left, and that should give you the 12, 11. But then you might have to work the cue not to get behind the 4 to get out for the 14 possibly.
Now I was actually okay with the ball that he chose, but I definitely wouldn't have shot the I wouldn't have shot it the way that he did. Now he gets a fortunate breakout here to where now things are a little bit easier. So now all the attention has to go to that 15 ball. Like I said, if the 15 ball can't even pass the 8, then all the talking that we just did was irrelevant. Let's see what he does here, though. All right, nice little shot there. We're not doing a whole lot of cue ball movement like I talked about. Okay, he's prepping, so I guess that means it does pass.
Because if not, man, he'd have to get that 14 and then get to that long left long row.
Underrolled that one. This would definitely be nice to be flat on this ball so that we can just slightly draw back.
He's actually done that multiple times this rack.
Okay. Yeah, that almost turned into a break and run for your opponent there. That was some nice shooting there.
Should have been a break and run for the win.
So question is, how are you going to deal with the 1 and the 4? What?
I think I was trying to slide draw that and I just punched it. I think I just hit it bad. Backyard Billiard says, good night, guys. Appreciate you stopping by, man.
Oh, did we get the safety? Because if he did, that's a great shot.
I'm pretty sure I did, but
see,
it looks like I've got the edge hooked.
Too many players will try to figure out how to run this rack and sell out the rack. You must have asked yourself the question, this is no longer runnable. Let me find a way to play safe. And you decided to play safe. So this is good. If your opponent wins from here, I mean, they freaking earn it. And
absolutely,
you would rather want your opponent to earn the rack than for you to accidentally give them the rack because you made a mistake.
Right.
So I think this is good.
Yeah, and I truly hate combos. Even though that 1-4 looked like it was basically wired, at least now this plays a safe and both balls have a home.
Yep.
So let's just, as long as it's hooked, which I think it did. Yeah, he's playing a little swerve.
Oh, what a hit.
Got it.
This is a good position for your opponent to be in because you have to shoot up table. Yep. And if you miss, he has shots available. Hint, hint. Oh, what does your opponent decide to do from here? In certain situations, like for you to be in the position that you're in, like I like to call it do or die mode at that point, to where it's like we got to try to do something. If we mess up, we mess up.
I mean, I could have played another safe. I could have just hit straight into the one, get the cue ball to roll behind the 4, but I think I had that same attitude of do or die.
Yep.
Great shot. Unfortunately, drew it.
Oh, yeah. Why? No, I mean he didn't draw it. He bottom left spun the
Yeah.
ball. Take off the spin. You're shooting the 8 ball, I think, into the side pocket, which is what he wanted. He's
Hmm.
going to still try to thinly back cut that ball. I'm trying to predict where that cue ball is going to go. It's going to be a 3 rail shot.
And
2,
just
3.
barely. I'm getting down shooting real quick.
Yep. Are you in give up mode?
I don't think I've got that. So, but I am definitely in oh shit mode.
That's a good shot.
Just don't get on the rail. Okay.
Well, in that case, I wish you would have hit it just a little bit harder and
Yeah, come off the rail.
come 2 more rails. Put that to the side pocket. Okay,
We're
not a
not
shutout.
swept.
Not a shutout. Okay, let's see what we can do here. The
Second
greatest
video, I'm
comeback
gonna
ever.
just show me getting my butt whipped right after.
This is good. This is good. Okay, we scratched on our last break. Let's see if we hit this one. Your opponent's been actually doing second ball breaks really well, whereas cue ball goes back through the rack. And
Yeah.
see, yours goes behind the rack. So either you're cutting it too much or you're not putting enough bottom spin
Yep.
on the ball. Now, this is a decent spread. It looks like you made what? Like you made a solid?
Looks like one of each.
3 or one of each. Okay. So remember, always ask the question, is this rack runnable? Starting with this ball. The same,
I think I understroked that.
the same principle kind of still applies when I talk about tip position priority. It's just that like I said, in depending upon the layout of the rack, typically you don't want to be moving your cue ball around a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, in this case here, because you got to bump stuff open because you're trying to solve all your problems, you got one more problem left, and that's that 11 ball.
Yep. Oh, it went clean.
Nicely done. So now, can we deep spin that 9 ball? You're going to hit the rail and kind of head towards the 2. You don't want to touch your 14 ball.
Right.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to try to go underneath it. You want your cue ball to go towards that 2 ball. That's the reason
I
why
tried to go underneath it and cause
it.
a problem.
This still works out though, because you have a back cut angle to where you should naturally miss the 1 ball.
Yeah.
And you probably should be able to shoot the 8 ball into the opposite corner pocket. Yep, you're already looking at it. Exactly.
Yeah, just seeing where's the cue ball going? What's the angle?
Oh, I was going to say that was a great shot. I mean, it's a great make, but we didn't really get the cue ball exactly where we wanted. Oh, this is gross. Does it go in the side pocket? Well, I mean, you're risking the scratch, I think, either way.
Yeah.
It's a tough position to be in.
Mm.
Oh, this guy.
Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen that method?
He wants to kick the 8 ball in.
I'm looking at my options. I'm just seeing what's possible.
Now he's looking at the side pocket. I think that side pocket is super risky.
Oh, it is. And I'll be honest, I don't remember even what I do here. I edited this
Now we're
video
looking back at
2 months
now
ago.
we're looking back at the kick.
Yep.
Good hit. You wanted that
I
break and
wanted
run.
it.
You wanted that break and run.
Needed it to kind of give momentum a new address, you know?
Yeah. Hey, dumb ref. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night, and good luck tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually also playing in a 9-ball world qualifier for my team tomorrow morning. So good luck, brother.
Okay, let's see how your opponent's going to get to that 6 ball. Like maybe right now, drawing off the 1. Not quite.
Mm.
Does he still want to shoot it? Okay, I agree with this.
Yeah, his balls are too spread out. He doesn't really have a safe.
Oh
But
no! Lose
no.
control of the cue ball. So you get a little bit of charity here.
Two.
Okay, here we go.
Get another chance at a bad break. Here we go. See if I can control this a little better. Nope.
Same thing. Same thing. So now I'm led to believe though that you're just not putting enough bottom spin on the ball.
Yeah. I actually remember this shot because I made a single stripe and look at that wall of stripes by me.
Yep. But you don't need to do anything. You just you just hit the what is it, the
I think the 11
ball and just,
or no 15
and just stick the cue ball right there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bother trying to make the ball.
No. Yeah, I purposely cut it out. I was like, don't fall, don't fall.
This looks really good. I like this. So immediately, what I see here, if you get ball in hand, which, I mean, the probabilities are pretty high. I mean, he might be able to hit the 1. Never mind. And he just solved your problem for you. Because I was going to say, take your ball in hand, and I think you could shoot the 12 into the side, and you would break open those 2 stripes, and then your 15 ball that you shot first, that's your backup shot.
So part of this is also knowing your opponent, and I've played Geo quite a bit. I know him very well. He's getting a lot better in terms of ball pocketing, and then a little bit better in cue ball control, but he doesn't play safes, and his kicks and banks or his kicks are not great. So that's where I was like, if you're down and you need to come back, play a couple safes, get into the mental side, and he'll lose his momentum. And the 8-ball goes in the side or all the way down, so got the 15 as your key ball.
That was a good pattern. I like that pattern.
Thank you.
You'll be playing the 8 in the side, I would hope.
It's where I pointed. Like, that's where I was trying to get it.
Yeah.
Just a little understroke, but still calling the side. Run to the 1 ball to stop it.
That was a good pattern. I like being in these positions as well, because when you're on the hill, you're thinking like, oh, I can be a little comfortable and stuff. But then when your opponent starts creeping back, like you're doing right now all the pressure is on him instead of you. That's a little better. That almost came back through the rack.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's dry. Yep, dry break. Obviously, solids look good. You just got to shape that 2 ball, or maybe have to move the 15 to open it up, but
So that's why I think we play the 4 ball now, stun
Yep.
off the short rail, get position on the 3, and then
The 3 or the
shoot the
7?
or is that the 7? The ball that the cue ball's next to, the solid that
Yeah,
the cue
I
ball's
think
next
that's a
to.
7 because a 3 ball looks like it's way up on the opposite corner.
Okay. But the 7 ball, we shoot the 7 ball with left spin and go
Yep.
3 rails to try to get on the good side of the 6. So that way when we shoot the 6, we bump the 2 away from those 2 stripes, and then our 1 ball is a backup shot, because if we bump the 2 good enough, we might be able to shoot the 2 or the 3, but our
Yeah.
1 ball becomes a nice backup shot. So this is a good start here, but I would be
Yep.
shooting that 7 ball right now.
Yes.
Oh, that might have been okay. If you would have made the ball, he's in perfect position to hit the 6 and bump the 2 and use the 1, like I said, and use the 1 to get back onto the 7, and then use the 7 to get back up to the 2 and the 3. Like that,
Yeah.
that's a possibility. Whoops, I know what you were trying to do.
Yeah. Trying to lock it up a little bit.
So this is okay. We're still okay. He just made that 5 ball harder since he missed it.
Yeah. A little bit.
Ooh, what a shot. Now the 5 ball is not a problem anymore.
As long as it goes by that 3 easily, which it looks like there's just enough gap. Ooh,
Never mind.
close. No, I mean, I definitely got some work with that 15.
What are you going to do?
I'm assuming clean up the north end of the table.
I don't know that you should have done that, but let's see.
I'd be okay with leaving 13 or something. Am I really trying to get all the way back? Oh, I think I just got there. I was trying to leave a shape on that 10 to be able to bump the 15.
Whoops.
There's Todd's inner monologue for most of pool. Whoops.
Whoops.
I wonder why he didn't go for the 6 right there, because it looks like 6 clears the 1 to that side, and that would have automatically gave you the 2 ball, but
Well, he was on the rail, so his cue ball would roll past the 2. Like if there's enough of the 2 to see to go into the corner pocket that he just shot into,
yeah,
his cue ball would roll past to where he wouldn't be able to see that.
gotcha.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah. Good shot.
All right, moment of truth. This is the shot that determines the rack, or determines the match.
The
In
match,
this
really,
case,
yeah.
and he got it.
How good did he hit that?
As long as this ball goes. Oh,
Look at that short stroke. Accidental, like, jumped it. Still made the ball.
some people would want to argue that that's a foul.
Right.
Can you go back and try to pause it like right at the moment of the hit?
It looked like
I
he
just
was
can't.
trying to.
I just can't tell.
Yeah, I mean he's hiked down, so I think it's legal. I think he just tried to do like a pinch draw, and it ended up hopping the ball, which lost all draw and just rolled with
Yeah.
it.
Well,
And
we can try
I
to
think
play
that's
the eight
actually
and
what
the
I'm talking to
side.
him there is was that a bad hit? And he's saying right there, I don't think so.
He just accidentally. It looked like after watching it, it looks like he just accidentally scooped the cue ball.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you the question: was it a bad hit? And shooter's call. If you say it's good,
And that's the
that's the
game.
game. That's how we lost. I tried to make a comeback.
Well, I think it's plain and clear. Like what I talked about here about eight ball is just a completely different strategy
Yeah.
than nine ball. And a lot of times, even in nine ball, both games, you have to ask the question when you come to the table: is the rack runnable? And if you could say to yourself yes, then you figure out how to run it. If you say to yourself no, well, why is it not runnable?
Yeah.
Because in eight ball, you're going to be looking for clusters. You're going to be looking for balls that are blocked by other balls, to where like a certain ball might only have one pocket it can go into, and you have to get very specific position in order to get there.
Right.
So when you're playing eight ball, that's how you prioritize. Are there problem spots on the table? And if there are, you need to figure out how to solve them. If your skill set doesn't allow you to solve them, well, then how many balls are you going to take off of the table before you surrender the table back to your opponent?
Right.
And it's usually not a good idea to take a lot of balls off the table and leave your opponent a more open table than what would have been if you'd have just, stopped a whole lot sooner. So that's usually the strategy that I like to play with when I play eight ball. If I can run the table and my skill set allows me to run the table, then I'm usually going to try.
Sure.
And that's with me being honest with myself that yes, I believe I can do this with my skill set. Versus it's less than ideal that lower skill level players. I mean, they think they can make every ball because the concept of safety doesn't usually enter their mind when it comes to playing pool, whether it's eight ball or nine ball. But
I've made that shot before.
I mean, yeah. So, but really, this game is all about control. Yes, you can argue that the game is about good shooting. Let's just make a ball every time we make a ball. But I would just argue that it's more about having control on and off the table. And by having control when you're off the table, it's because you played some sort of good safety that increases the probability of you coming back to the table.
Right.
So overall, I would say good. I would still wonder about your eight ball patterns, like we talked about.
Sure.
But we didn't really get it. I don't think we really took enough time to really try to dive into or like deep dive into some eight ball patterns. We did talk about some,
Sure.
but I think we talked more about strategy plays on nine ball than anything else. But I mean, hopefully the viewers get something out of this, and of course, hopefully you get something
I know I
out
did.
of this as well.
I know I did. Maybe next stream I'll get some eight ball for you. I'll even do an ultimate pool for you.
Well, I mean, ultimate pool is different. I don't know about that because you just have to play rapidly, and I'm not a very rapid player.
Right.
Like I like to take my time. I wouldn't mind giving it a try at some point just to see how would I mentally play, under those types of conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately the big open events that they do at statewide or whatever, they don't do shot clock or match clock in the regular matches. That's only when you're on the TV table. So even if you enter a Texas Open or whatever they might end up coming out with, a Dallas or San Antonio Open, whatever it may be, that won't be quite the same. You'd really need to play, unless you can get on the stream or TV table, that's different. But Otherwise, yeah, you'd have to play in some kind of match, like a league match kind of thing. And so, but it's, it's like all pool. Everybody loves their format, be it APA, USAPL, Napa, whatever it is. Everybody's got their preference.
I like I think all the formats serve their purpose.
Absolutely.
I
They all
know
have their
there's a
pros and
lot of
cons.
I know there's a lot of argument that APA is not good. I would disagree. The format is there for a specific reason, which is to really entice your amateur pool players to come into play,
Right.
and then of course learn. I would say though that unfortunately, when it comes to money, sometimes people just don't want to be quote unquote fair when it comes to making money or winning money, and so that's where the sandbagging portion comes into play. But that's not just APA, right? Every league system has it. Any league system where you can manipulate your handicap with some form of sandbagging, that kind of sucks.
Of course.
It would be up to the league systems to try to figure out how to close that gap. But it's not really the system's fault. I would say it's more of the player's fault trying to exploit
Yes.
something like that for the sake of money.
Right.
To where I would pretty much promote that if you are caught doing something like that, you are banned. And when people see stuff like that happen more and more, I would almost guarantee you it would happen less and less.
Yeah. And I am a big fan of Ultimate Pool, but talking with the upper level people over there, they do watch for sandbagging. They do kind of pay attention to it. And their system automatically flagged them. Like, and I'm not gonna obviously name drop, but there was a guy who lost a match because he had 7 early 8s. Like, you're clearly fumbling the match. Like, that's not something that happens with a 100 Fargo. They're not gonna 7 times early 8. So yeah, they actually called him and told him, you do it again, you're kicked out of the league permanently.
Wow. But
So,
that's awesome. That's awesome,
you know,
though.
they do take a little bit, they're taking it more serious. They're trying to grow the sport. They're not trying to, hinder it and say, we're going to pay out the best to the people that handicap manage the best. They're not,
Right.
they're trying to watch for it. So I really
That's
respect that.
awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
but anyway, Trevor Simpson, thanks for the stream, guys. Chris, I may message you sometime over the next few weeks as I'm moving to Texas and hoping to get an opportunity to hook up with you in person.
Hey, that would be awesome, man. Just
Well,
hit me up and let me know.
depends on what part of Texas, because that is a massive state.
If he's anywhere near Central Texas, I'm pretty sure we can make something work. But if you're anywhere
Yeah.
north or south, then probably not.
Yeah. All
Actually,
right.
no. I will lead off with this. If you're anywhere north or south, like 3 hours away, you have to come to me. I'm not coming to you.
Yes. Right. All right. Do we have any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat right now.
Doesn't look like it.
I'll
Oh,
be
so
in
you're gonna be in
Abilene, he
Abilene.
says.
That's way up north. That's like a 3-4 hour drive for me. That would be a little out of my side. Well, I take that back because sometimes I have traveled up to the Dallas Fort Worth area. Abilene's a little bit more further north than that. So perhaps we can probably do a meet in the middle or something. But we'll just have to wait until that comes up. But I will give a closing here because I'm not really seeing any questions. Todd, thank you so much for having me back on the channel. I hope the insights that I was able to provide was both beneficial to you and then, of course, the viewers as well.
Absolutely.
Hopefully here soon I'll be back to doing my own content because clearly I could have spent the hours that I spent on this live stream doing my own content as well, but it would take a whole lot more time than what we just allotted for this live stream because I got to take the hours it would take to film the content and the hours it would take to edit the content. And at this point in time in my life and scheduling, I just don't have that type of time, and I currently don't even have that type of patience to be able to be able to do that. But hopefully that'll change
I get
here
it.
in the near future.
Well, regardless, I appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and you're a wealth of knowledge. If I could pick your brain weekly, I would. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I know everybody's going to get
My
a lot
pleasure.
out of this. I'm going to be sharing this to anyone and everyone, and I will be watching this back because I didn't watch the first stream enough because I apparently didn't learn enough. I got more to go.
I can tell you this, that it's something that I experience with every player that has played for me, where I review their matches like I'm reviewing yours. They don't pick up everything, and it's gotten to a point to where usually I'll just leave one little piece of advice, especially at the end. It's like, of all the things that I mentioned in the video, like, this is what I want you to focus on the most. And then when
How
I
to
see them,
billiard.
yeah, yeah, or if you want to do the rolling billiard shot, right? If you want to do that, so that way, when I see that they're doing it more often, then I could try to give them another piece of advice that I would want to highlight, and then
Yeah.
occasionally I still have to remind them, right? So you illustrated some of the stuff that I know that we talked about, but then some of the stuff where you didn't, I mentioned it again, just
Yeah.
as a general reminder.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Iggy, I appreciate you watching all my content, man. Thank you so much. But he says he's looking at you, Chris. He's looking for more content. And Iggy, I back you up on that. I've been a viewer of Chris probably almost since the beginning. He did me the great honor of reviewing one of my matches during COVID and flat out changed my game, changed my mindset towards a lot of different things, and then eventually got me doing YouTube. So the reason I'm here is because of this gentleman right here. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I
Other than that,
I
yep,
Yeah, I'm the one that's also appreciative. Like, we just recently saw that both of us were featured in another video by Drew Von Port, so I want to
yep.
shout out his channel as well. To where I am. What's the word I'm looking for? I'll just say, like, I'm very appreciative and humbled that I still have a place, or the effect that I have on the community, even though I haven't been active like at all.
Yeah,
So I'm very grateful and very appreciative. But rest assured, I'll be back at it again here soon.
I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, I think we're gonna end there. Thank you so much. I still got 19 people watches. I don't even remember how many we were up to at one point, but thank you
You
everybody for
topped out
watching.
at about like you topped out at about like 30 plus from what I
Okay.
saw,
I saw
which I think is
35 at one
awesome
point.
for yeah, which is awesome for a live stream.
I will take that. And that's all because, 31 people to watch Chris, 4 people to watch me, and I appreciate you. And with that, thank you guys. Y'all have a good night. We'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Take care, everybody.